The 17 who are there, 14 are still at large. And Mr. Speaker, the PS that is purporting to have written that statement telling us where we are so far with the investigations, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you
schools we are learning.
You cannot give a hyena a proposal to write on how to keep the goats. It will instead write on how to eat the goats. The PS, Raymond Omolo, is vicariously liable for the attack of Senator Osotsi. Therefore, Chairman, arrest must be made. This PS should not treat us with these mere statements of puff and innuendos, and we will not tolerate this. Goons must be finished once and for all in this country. Thank you. And we are going to Kisumu on 26th. We want to meet.
Yes, Kapchai, Member of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are your property as members of Parliament. We want first of all to thank the Parliament for taking quick action to move Senator Osotsi from Kisumu to Nairobi for treatment. First, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for both houses what they did. Second, Mr. Speaker, this report tells us that there are 2 more people who must be arrested. The first is that girl they are purporting to be in love. Can that girl be arrested, be brought here? I mean, to police. 2.
Order, Honorable Kalasinga. If you listen to Russell, to be fair to that lady, whoever she is, sitting with the senator is not an indication of being in love with the senator. The only thing alleged in the statement is that the lady sitting or accompanying the senator was romantically involved with one of the assailants. But there's no mention of the lady being involved romantically or otherwise with the senator. So go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, we read a lot. Before even we get this statement, we even read the bloggers of PS Omol. The first blogger of PS said that the Osotsi has been beaten because of a woman. We read, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I allow.
Honorable Speaker, it is important that we set the record straight. Yesterday we were at the police station. This particular lady came to record her own statement. She works for Senator Osotsi, and they were meeting that morning to plan a football tournament. There is no love triangle. And even if Senator Osotsi has a personal relationship with anybody, is that the responsibility of goons to attack him? It cannot be. So this lady is innocent. She's a member of staff. She came that morning from Vihiga to meet Honorable Osotsi at the restaurant in Kisumu. So it is some blogger, a hired gun called a lie, who 10 minutes after Osotsi had been attacked was trying to spread that kind of lie. And Honorable Osotsi has already lodged a complaint under Cyber Crimes Act against that foolish fellow from Kileleshwa called a lie. Thank you.
Thank you for information. Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with a serious act.
Ask supplementary to Russell, who brought. This is not debate. This is statement time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
What I was just requesting for Chairman to add on the fact that he has given us is that actually the quantum of the report does not measure to the houses that we belong. We are serious people. Kenyan, we are moving towards an election where things must be taken seriously, Mr. Speaker. We are not happy. And as a lawyer from Western, Mr. Speaker, we are hurt. That is our son. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Alice.
Mr. Speaker, I was just asking, why are we only discussing about the lady and she's not here and making this information to be about that lady? Instead of talking about the senator who was attacked, why are we bringing in that lady here in that discussion?
Yes, David Ocheng.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much. Mr. Speaker, our standing orders require that the principal secretaries in the various departments respond to us. And therefore, any insinuation that PS Raymond Omolo shouldn't have signed the response, Mr. Speaker, is for me out of order. I was writing orders, it could have been Omolo or anybody else. It didn't have to be Omolo. But he's the current PS in that department, Mr. Speaker. But I wanted to just ask a supplementary question whether the committee has considered whether this attack, because if you look at the line of questioning, was this attack politically motivated or was it an act of criminality on its own? Because that...
Order, Karoli, you can't purport to inform anybody. Out
Mr.
of order.
Speaker, Karoli then should go and do a statement at the police. Because he has so many facts about this. Maybe he attacked Ososi. Who knows? Who knows? Because he seems to know everything about this attack. Maybe he's a person of interest in this particular matter. Because he can't keep giving facts to Parliament. The police station just across the road. In fact, I saw you with Ososi there. Why did you write a statement? If you know all these things, why are you giving it to Parliament? So my question is, I don't want to be informed by you. I don't want to be informed by you. I just want the committee to check whether this attack was actually politically motivated or it was an act, because politicians tend to smoke things. You want to put smoke screen on, maybe there's something deeper in this. Has the committee gone ahead to check whether this attack was an isolated act of criminality or it was actually indeed a politically motivated attack? I don't want...
Raso, can you respond to those? Carol Omondi, you are being rowdy. Hold on, Raso. Yes, Mere Mase.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas we condemn the attack on Honorable Senator Ososi, and we condemn any manner of goonism against any member in the strongest terms possible. But, Honorable Speaker, it is wrong for a honorable member to Honorable Karasinga to refer to a girl being brought here or being taken to the police station. I want to say that let proper investigations be done. Even reference by Honorable Kalori to social media, there are all manner of allegations on social media. Let us get facts, let proper investigations be done, and that is the right route to be followed, without making allegations or reference to media. A lot of things are said about us on social media. You cannot rely on what we see on social media about anybody. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Go on, Raso.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is clarified by the department that this matter is under investigation. And Honorable Karoli and others, they appear to be loaded with information. As good citizens and leaders, you should record a statement instead of harboring it within yourself. Honorable Speaker, I think there are two things coming out. One, the department said they suspect this is hooliganism and also it is politically motivated. The issue of romance is just, by the way, because they said one of the suspects that this could be spouse or fiancé or something like that. There's some relationship. Honorable Speaker, what we wish to promise the House is on Tuesday we are meeting the minister as a committee. And those who have enough information and they want to prosecute this matter further because already there is a criminal culpability that is going on in terms of investigation. But in terms of asking the minister deeper question in terms of safety of leaders, in terms of safety in public places, I think we should come forward and put questions to the minister. Finally, within this report, they have said that they are doing forensic analysis because the CCTV footage is also out there. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Maungo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I've carefully listened to the feedback from the chair, but I wish that you direct that, Mr. Speaker, what has actually been captured to me is not satisfactory. I therefore request, Mr. Speaker, through your indulgence, that the chairman comes back with a substantive feedback after having summoned the people involved. I've had my good friend Wakili seems to have more information, equally be summoned for the same committee to ensure that we are able to gather as much information as possible, Mr. Speaker, about the same. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, as it comes to respond to the same, Mr. Speaker, there's something that I'll wish, because tomorrow I may be attacked. It will be unfair they bring in a woman just because I was sitting in a restaurant with a lady, Mr. Speaker, and I'm accused to having been involved in some misdemeanor. So we have a pattern in this country that whenever an issue happens, the name of a lady is dragged in, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on that given day, just to bring you to speed, an hour after, social media was awash with the same allegations that I've seen captured on this, Mr. Speaker. And to me...
Avoid the temptation to use social media as a source of information. If you ever, once in a long while, I look at social media, and it's just angry and reckless exchanges between people. It's hardly anything to go by.
That's true, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the advice. But it's also a reality that social media is with us today, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
And it helps us to communicate, and it's a medium of communication. So those are...
I led a delegation to India 3 months ago.
Yes.
While I was in India meeting the Prime Minister of India, some hooligan was posting on social media here that I was dead. Am I dead? I'm still here. You saw it?
Yeah, we saw it,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker. Yeah, so finally, I just call upon the chair, Mr. Speaker, that you...
What you should, Maungu,
Yes.
you brought this statement.
Yes, please.
What you should be interrogating the chairman, he has alleged 3 motives. Political,
Yes. Romantic?
romance, and hooliganism.
Yes.
Those are the 3 issues you should ask him that he has brought to the floor. And he has also said that on Tuesday, and Tongo told us yesterday, the Minister for Security will be appearing before the committee,
Yes.
and have invited any member with unanswered issues or unsatisfactory issues like the one you are prosecuting to go and interrogate the minister before the committee.
Thank you.
And I would encourage you to do that as well.
Thank you,
But
sir.
he has brought how many motives?
3.
3.
Yes.
Politics,
Political?
hooliganism, romance.
Yes. Thank you, Speaker. I submit.
Yes. Karia, are you ready to respond to Ojambo Undo? Is Oundo in the house?
Speaker.
Oundo is always here.
He's always here.
That
and
I
today
don't
is
see
not.
him, he must be having a legitimate reason for not being here. Let's give him space. You will respond on Tuesday.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Transport and infrastructure, GK, are you in the house? Are you ready to respond to Protas Akuja? Member for Loima, is Akuja in the house? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the member for Loima, Honorable Dr. Protas Akuja MP, requested for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the lack of National Transport and Safety Authority services in Turkana County. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the Honorable Akuja sought to establish, among other things, 1, the immediate plans by the Ministry of Roads and Transport to provide NTSA services in Turkana County, including specific timelines, and 2, the long-term measures by the ministry to ensure equitable decentralization of NTSA services to underserved counties such as Turkana County. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport through the Clerk of the National Assembly, which I now wish to make. 1, regarding the immediate plans by the Ministry of Roads and Transport to provide NTSA services to Turkana County, including specific timelines. The Cabinet Secretary submitted that the Ministry, through the National Transport and Safety Authority remains committed to ensuring that all services are decentralized to all counties spread across the country. With respect to the concerns raised, the Ministry confirms the following action on provision of NTSA services in Turkana County. A, operationalize the Huduma Center desks in Lodwar town and deploy staff to facilitate enrollment for smart driving license and issuance of registration services, including issuance of logbooks. B, carry out scheduled driver testing programs in partnership with the driving schools to facilitate the licensing of potential drivers. And C, undertake monthly outreach programs to various parts of the county in an effort to bring services closer to the people. These services include registration of license services, motor vehicle inspection. The authority has budgeted the procurement of 2 mobile inspection trucks within the county. Honorable Speaker, regarding the long-term measures by the Ministry to ensure equitable decentralization of NTSA services to undertake to underserved counties such as Turkana, the Cabinet Secretary submitted that to ensure seamless, continuous, and consistent service delivery to the people of Turkana and other underserved counties in the long term, the Ministry commits as follows. A, that the authority will progressively deploy staff and operationalize its desks in all the 54 Huduma centers across the country to offer registration and licensing services. And these are some of the core services required by the people. And to actualize this, the Ministry will prioritize the budgetary review to allocate funds for implementing these requirements in the next financial year, that is 2026 to 2027, through engagement with the National Treasury. And B, that it shall engage county governments of the affected areas and the national government to facilitate identification and allocation of parcels of land and or procurement of office space for service delivery. The authority is already in discussions with the counties of Narok, Taita Taveta, Kericho, Garissa to actualize this plan, and the engagements are at an advanced stage. And C is a commitment to actualize decentralization of motor vehicle inspection and driver testing. The authority developed a concept note on the model MVI and Driver Testing Center of Excellence for 7 counties, which has already been uploaded in the Project Implementation Management Information Systems. And the authority will continue engaging development partners to extend the services to other counties, as has been done in Thika Makongeni Center, where Honorable Alice, who is consulting in Loughton, represents, and the Coney Road Inspection Center. D, that the authority shall deploy enroll kits for personalized and registration of potential drivers across the country through the private-public partnership with Kenya Commercial Bank.
Too long, summarize.
I'm almost done, Honorable Speaker, two paragraphs to go. CE, that pursuant to legal notice number 13 On the traffic motor vehicle inspection rules 2026, dated 13 February 2026, the regulatory framework empowers NTSA to conduct and oversee vehicle inspection across all categories, ensuring that both public and private fleets meet uniform roadworthiness and safety standards. By licensing private inspection centers and deploying mobile units, the system decentralizes access to inspection services, particularly in underserved regions. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, this approach ensures accountability, reduces accidents, and promotes equitable service delivery nationwide. It bridges geographic and resource disparities, supports local economic activity, and guarantees that statutory compliance and safety benchmarks are consistently enforced for vehicles transporting citizens, goods, and services. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
There is one next to you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the CS through the Chair of Transport and Communication by attempting to answer the questions or the response that I asked. Honorable Speaker, the CS has not attempted to address the issue of timelines. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, Turkana County is the largest county in Kenya, covering an area of 77 square kilometers. And therefore, this particular county is supposed to be a region on its own. Because from the response, I've heard that NTSA took over from the ministry the old regions, that is before devolution. And therefore, we will continue getting our services through the old regions, like where Turkana is situated in Rift Valley. And therefore, the headquarters of Rift Valley those days was Nakuru. Therefore, for you to be able to get your logbook, or rather to get a new plate, you need to come to Nakuru to pick it. This has a lot of disadvantage to the people living in that particular place, because even Lodwar alone, where he has mentioned of Huduma Center, Huduma Center is in Lodwar town only. For you to travel from Lodwar to Kibish, you will travel more than 400 kilometers. And for you to travel from Lodwar to the farthest part of the county to the south, you will have to travel more than 295 kilometers. So being in Lodwar or being in Turkana County alone is a challenge. And therefore, picking these particular services or getting these services from either Eldoret or Nakuru is a challenge. So we need to know from the CS what immediate measures are they putting to be able to allow the people of Turkana get their logbooks from the nearest point, even if it means Lodwar. We'll be happy. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yes, Akuja, in this house, there is the speaker, not a chair. Go on, GK.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the Minister has given three steps that he's taking. First is budgetary support for decentralization of these services. And two, availing the same services through Huduma centers. And three, privatization of these services, as indicated in my report, number E, and I believe he has the report, citing rules number citing legal notice number 13 of the traffic motor vehicle rules 2026, dated 13 February. And this, Honorable Speaker, will help the people of Turkana and all other Kenyans access these services within the required time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable members, George Gachagua and Ekwam Nabwin, your statements will be scheduled for next Tuesday. Members on their feet, take your seats. Members on your feet, take your seats. Honorable members, allow me to recognize students from the University of Nairobi, my university. I wish to acknowledge the presence of a delegation of 54 students from the Department of Political Science and Public Administration in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at the University of Nairobi who are seated in the public gallery. The students were led by Ms. Esther Njoki, lecturer in the Department of Political Science and Public Administration, are visiting the National Assembly to learn from the legislative and administrative processes within Parliament and gaining practical experience on governance, institutional operations, and interface between theory and practice in public administration. Honorable members, on my behalf and on behalf of the National Assembly, I welcome them to the National Assembly and wish them a fruitful and inspiring visit. Thank you. Honorable members, you may also notice that we have a supplementary order paper and we'll proceed with business as follows. We are not done with the statements yet. We still have the majority leader to give their Thursday statement, but that will come later. We'll do order number 8, which should not take any more than 5-10 minutes. After order number 8, which is the precursor to orders number 14, 15, and 16. So after order number 8, we'll proceed straight to orders number 14, 15, and 16. These 4 orders should not take us more than an hour. It is a validation of a direction that has already been given and is being implemented on reducing the load of cost of fuel to the public by reducing VAT from 16 to 8%. So I encourage members to be responsible and patriotic and deal with this matter to lift the load from our citizens. So we call out order 8, which once we finish, we go straight to orders 14, 15, and 16.
Order number 8, motion.
Hold that. Yes, Makali.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, thank you. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to request you to allow a few of us to say something to the students.
Just speak for yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to join you to welcome the students of the University of Nairobi for coming to this house and see what we do. Some of us were there many, many years ago, and we want to assure them that in a few years they can be where we are, seated here serving Kenyans. So most welcome and work hard. Make sure you work very hard in your studies, and the future is very bright for you. Please remain focused and committed. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Maungu, did you also go to the University of Nairobi?
Not really. Kenyatta University.
What do you mean not really? Either you did or you didn't?
You know, there's, okay, let me just be cool on the same. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to seek your indulgence on a matter. 2 weeks ago,
yes,
I raised a statement with regard to SGR in Luanda station, and the chairman transport committed to give the feedback today. It's now 2 weeks, and I didn't hear him talk on the same.
GK, can you do that on Tuesday in view of the direction I've given?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, we'll be able to do it.
Dick Maungu, can we do it on Tuesday?
Obliged.
Thank you. Yes, Farah Malim.
Yeah, I want to encourage I was a student in the University of Nairobi also. I want to encourage the students from the University of Nairobi, particularly in the Department of Government, that this is a serious business. In the developed world, Mr. Speaker, people who go and people who do political, Mr. Speaker, protect me from
Gikaria.
From this MKU graduate.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, in the developed world, the people who go to do political science, history, literature, arts are the top students in the classes. They are the top because these are supposed to be the thinkers, they're supposed to be the politicians of the future, they're supposed to be taking care of a nation. Actually, they say law is a trade, and medicine is a trade also. So what I'm trying to say is that, young men, welcome to this business. And I also want to tell you one thing. Was George Bernard Shaw or Winston Churchill who said, if you are 20 and you are not a socialist, then you have no heart. But if you are 40 and you are still a socialist, then you have no head. And the idea is basically to talk about this idealistic thing and pragmatism. So you have to understand that all is not about pragmatism, idealism and talking lofty. And talking very lofty and the rest of it, as if fixing a government is like a small show where you can say all the good things and all the good things will be delivered like manna. There is a process, so young people have to understand there is a business. And the worst business young people can get involved in is to make their own country a failed state. A failed state. There is no solution to a failed state. When you become a failed state, you become like DRC, you become like Somalia, the way it will take you 40 years to come back together to normalcy. So always protect the center, and at the same time, make sure that we also bring in these people who are studying political science into governance because they are the best at that field. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order number 8, Majority Leader.
Order number 8, motion, reduction of publication period of a specified bill.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you very much. Let me not say that for now, Speaker. But pursuant to the provisions of standing order.
You obviously didn't go to the University of Nairobi, did you?
I went to a university called Pennsylvania State University in the United States.
Go ahead.
It's an Ivy League university. That pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026 from 7 days to 6 days. Honorable Speaker and honorable members of this House, we have an opportunity to get into the space and ensure that we offload the load that is on our Kenyans, especially on the fuel. And therefore, instead of waiting for 7 days to do publication, we would like to reduce the 7 days by 6 days and ensure that we do this urgently because it's an urgent matter and we pass this bill, we go through it, and I want to request that we approve the procedural motion to reduce the publication period of this specified bill, Honorable Speaker, and therefore request the Honorable Kimani Kuria to second.
Kamau Kuria was my professor of law at the University of Nairobi.
Yes. To second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As Kenyans are aware, we are facing a crisis, and this House is rising to the occasion to fix that crisis. And it's for that reason that this House will resolve this afternoon to reduce VAT on fuel from 16% to 8%, and that is why we want to reduce this publication time for this particular bill so that we can fasten and make sure we relieve Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. And if you allow me to also take this opportunity to welcome the students from the University of Nairobi and to also encourage them in the coming elections to participate in elections by vying, by supporting the candidates of their choice so that they can start earning the experience that they need. With that, I beg to second, Honorable Speaker.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now propose the question at order number 8, which is that, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the VAT Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, from 7 days to 6 days. I put the question. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, from 7 days to 6 days. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Do those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 14, the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Value-Added Tax Act and for connected purposes. Order number 15, the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, second reading.
Yes, Majority Leader. Honorable members, let me have your consensus. Can we spend less than an hour on this?
30 minutes.
How much time do you want?
30.
Oh, Dakikaria, 2 minutes will not be enough for saying I beg to move. 30 minutes?
Yes.
Is that the consensus of the House?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Owen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2026, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the members first for approving the motion, the procedural motion, so that we can reduce the time. And I want to say we are very grateful for that. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, from the onset, this is an emergency bill. An emergency bill, Honorable Speaker, and therefore nothing about this bill is ordinary, and nothing about this bill is something that we can spend a lot of time on, like you've said. It is also akin to the bills that we passed in 2022 during the COVID pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, Honorable Speaker, we faced a situation like this. And Honorable Speaker, during the time, how this House rose to the occasion and ensured that we passed laws in this House that protected Kenyans. This is the moment as such that we have to pass this bill, Honorable Speaker, to protect Kenyans. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, Kenya exists within the global financial ecosystem, and therefore the war and disruptions that has been happening in the Middle East has greatly affected our country. Like you are aware, Honorable Speaker, the war between Iran and the United States and many other countries, Honorable Speaker, that have joined the war have actually led to the disruption of the global trades, Honorable Speaker. And one of those trades that have been effectively affected by this conflict that we have in the Middle East, Honorable Speaker, is trade on fuel, Honorable Speaker. The fuel prices in the current pricing cycle are primarily driven by external economic factors rather than domestic policy decisions, Honorable Speaker. So we face a situation where global prices are now affecting this country. And therefore, what we have is not because of domestic policies that have driven up the prices of fuel up, Honorable Speaker, but because of the international market, the international trade that we have, and the geopolitics put together, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, Kenya imports all its refined petroleum products. And as such, local fuel prices are directly influenced by international petroleum prices. Our petroleum prices, Honorable Speaker, have been influenced by the international petroleum prices. So the pump prices that we see, Honorable Speaker, have been affected by this, and therefore, as a House, we are called upon to rise and help Kenyans reduce this load. The effect of these factors has resulted in a significant increase in the landed cost of fuel, which is ultimately reflected in pump prices borne by Mwananchi, Honorable Speaker. You and I, Honorable Speaker, if you go to the pump today, you see we've been affected by that, and many other Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. All Kenyans have been affected by this. And the ripple effect of this, Honorable Speaker, is that many other prices of other things, Honorable Speaker, will be affected. First, the cost of transporting this fuel from the Gulf to Kenya itself, the freight costs are high, Honorable Speaker. And when the fuel lands here, Honorable Speaker, cooking gas will be affected, farm produce will be affected, and many other facets, Honorable Speaker, of the economy will be affected because of this. And therefore, as a House, we need to rise up to defend Kenyans on this. Honorable Speaker, we must adjust based on existing circumstances. Global petroleum prices increased sharply between February and March 2026, significantly raising the base cost at which Kenya imports fuel. Petrol rose from $686.53 US per metric ton in February to US $973.39 per metric ton in March, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, diesel rose even more sharply from US $637.76 to US $138.78, while kerosene increased from US $681.20 to US $1,512.68 per barrel, Honorable Speaker. This data clearly shows that diesel and kerosene prices more than doubled within a single month, while petrol recorded a substantial increase. My Speaker, at a time like this, Honorable Speaker, the exchange rate moved from 129.27 per dollar in January to Kenya shillings 130.08 in March 2026. Although this looks like a very small margin, Honorable Speaker, but this margin is significant looking at the thousands and millions of liters that we bring in the country. While this movement of the dollar from 129 to 130, Honorable Speaker, may appear modest, but it has a compounding effect because fuel imports are dominated in the US dollar, in the US currency, Honorable Speaker. Even a small depreciation or increase translates into a higher cost in local currency terms. Honorable Speaker, the effect of rising international price is clearly reflected in the landed cost of petroleum products. Super petrol increased from US dollars 582.11 per cubic metric in February to US $823.87 in March, representing a 41.53% rise. And that of the diesel, it shows a 68.72% increase. And that of kerosene, Honorable Speaker, is even very high, 105.15%, Honorable Speaker. This clearly confirms that the primary drivers of the current increase in fuel price is the cost at which fuel is imported into the country, the landing cost, Honorable Speaker, and the freight cost that we face. Honorable Speaker, what are the measures that government is taking? One, allow me to outline progressive measures that the government has so far employed to cushion Kenyans against the rising global prices. On Monday, 14th April 2026, the Cabinet Secretary published legal notice number 69 of 2026 in the first attempt at emergency adjustment of taxes to cushion customers. This legal notice reduced VAT on fuel products from 16 to 13% within the allowed parameters of the value-added tax. Notably, Section 6.1 of the Value-Added Tax Act, Cap 476, which allows the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury to vary VAT taxes by up to 25% of statutory rate through a Gazette notice. I think, Honorable Speaker, if you look at that statute,
I know it.
476, Honorable Speaker,
I know it.
It is very clear there, Honorable Speaker. My Speaker, this resulted in the pricing cycle published on the same day, where pump prices exceeded 200 shillings per litre for both petrol and diesel. In Mombasa, Honorable Speaker, petrol was retailing at 203.69 per litre and diesel at 203.56, while kerosene stood at 149.49. In Nairobi, in this city, Honorable Speaker, petrol was at Kenya shillings 206.97 per litre and diesel at 206.84 and kerosene at 152. The slight variations reflect logistical costs within island towns such as Nairobi, bearing higher transport and distribution expenses compared to Mombasa. Honorable Speaker, additionally, the government provided support through the Petroleum Development Levy with Kenya shilling 6.2 billion from the fund to stabilize prices. The impact of these interventions has been significant. Without the Petroleum Stabilization Fund, Honorable Speaker, subsidy and the VAT adjustment, pipe prices would have been considerably very high and hurting this economy, Honorable Speaker. Because the petrol, which was at 206.97 per litre, would have risen to Kenya shillings 217. Diesel would have increased from 206 to 236, while kerosene would have ranged from 152 to 267. Honorable Speaker, these are not marginal differences. They represent substantial relief to households and businesses across the country. Honorable Speaker, what is the objective of this bill? Why are we moving this bill and why are we doing it in such speed, Honorable Speaker? Despite these commendable interventions, the pressure at the pump is still being felt and is still very high. Having exhausted the provisions of Section 6 of the Value Added Tax Act, we are now left with the option of an amendment bill. And that's why today I hold this amendment bill so that we can adjust the value added tax beyond the margin of 25% allowable in that section. It is therefore necessary for this House to take additional steps of enacting this legislation that will help to cushion Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, this bill seeks to amend Section 5 of the Value Added Tax Act, Cap 476, to reduce the rate of VAT on petroleum products from 16% to 8%. Honorable Speaker, to 8%, Honorable Speaker. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, this reduction will be in effect for a period of 90 days from the date of coming into effect of this act, Honorable Speaker. And I think if we work as hard as you have asked to do, Honorable Speaker, it could come into effect from tomorrow so that we can cushion Kenyans from the vagaries of the price distortions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, apart from the reduction of the VAT on petroleum products being in effect for 90 days, the bill also empowers the Cabinet Secretary to extend the operation of these measures beyond the prescribed 90 days through a Gazette notice, Honorable. So if this crisis continues past the 90 days, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary will also have powers to extend the provisions of this bill for another 90 days, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this reduction would translate into direct and tangible relief to consumers who are now asking for an opportunity like this so that they can enjoy lower prices, Honorable Speaker. It is noted that these measures lowers the price of the super petrol by Kenya shillings 9.37, Honorable Speaker, per litre, and diesel by Kenya shillings 10.21 per litre. These are meaningful reductions that will ease the burden on households, reduce transport costs, and lower the cost of essential goods and services across the economy. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, this is why at the beginning I said that this is emergency tax measures that we must take, Honorable Speaker, to cushion Kenyans. And they need to be considered with the seriousness that they deserve, Honorable Speaker. It is only through the approval of this bill that Kenyans can fully benefit from this enhanced relief. I therefore urge honorable members to appreciate that this is not just a policy proposal, but a necessary legislative step that we must take to arrest the situation that we are in now and help Kenyans, relieve Kenyans from the pain of going to the pump, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, having said all these many things, Honorable Speaker, I beg that the bill be approved by this House as I move and request the Honorable Kuria Kimani to second so that we can give Kenyans relief at the pump. Honorable Kuria Kimani. Honorable Kuria, not Kamau. You know, it is this lady who keeps on confusing me here. Kuria Kimani, the able chairman of finance and planning, and the deconstructor of liars. I'm getting more educated, Honorable Speaker. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to move.
Asante, Mheshimiwa Spika. Unajua kiongozi wa wengi anaashiria jambo ambalo lilikuwa mahali siku ya jana, lakini tusiende kwa hayo. Mswada huu, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muhimu sana wakati huu kwa sababu utalenga kusaidia wananchi moja kwa moja katika kukabiliana na gharama ya juu ya bei ya mafuta. Ni wajibu wa bunge, hususan bunge la taifa, kuhakikisha kuwa sheria zinasaidia wananchi wakati wa changamoto kama hizi. Mheshimiwa Spika, sababu kuu ya kudhamini mswada huu ni kupanda kwa bei ya mafuta ambayo imekuwa mzigo kubwa kwa wananchi. Ni muhimu kuelewa, Mheshimiwa Spika, kupanda huku hakujasababishwa na sera ndani ya nchi pekee, bali kwa kiwango kikubwa kinachangiwa na hali ya soko la kimataifa. Kenya hununua mafuta kutoka nchi za nje na hivyo bei zake hutegemea bei za dunia pamoja na thamani ya dola ya Marekani. Hii ina maana kuwa tunapoona bei ya mafuta inapanda, mara nyingi sababu iko nje ya mipaka ya nchi yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, kati ya mwezi wa Februari na Machi mwaka huu wa 2026, dunia ilishuhudia ongezeko kubwa la bei ya mafuta. Petroli ilipanda kutoka dola 686 hadi dola 973 kwa tani moja. Dizeli ilipanda kwa kiwango kikubwa zaidi kutoka dola 637 hadi dola 1388. Huku mafuta ya taa ikiongezeka zaidi kwa dola 681 hadi 1512. Hii inamaanisha wazi kuwa gharama zimeongezeka kwa kiwango kikubwa sana ndani ya muda mfupi, hali ambayo imeathiri nchi nyingi na sio nchi ya Kenya peke yake, nchi mingi katika ulimwengu wote. Kwa hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati huo dhamani ya shilingi yetu ilipungua kiwango kilinganishwa na dola Marekani kutoka shilingi 129 na senti 27 kwa dola mwezi jana hadi shilingi 180 na senti 8. Ingawa huku tofauti ya dola hii inaonekana kidogo mno, athari yake kwa bei ya mafuta ni kubwa sana, ile tunaita kwa Kiingereza the spiral effect. So Mheshimiwa Spika, matokeo ya mabadiliko haya yote yanaonekana moja kwa moja katika gharama ya kuingiza mafuta nchini. Petroli iliongezeka kwa zaidi ya asilimia 41, diesel kwa karibu asilimia 69 na mafuta ya taa kwa zaidi ya asilimia 105. Kwa hivyo ni juhudi gani ambazo tunafaa kufanya kuhakikisha kwamba bei ya mafuta imeweza kwenda chini? Jambo la kwanza, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambalo limeangaziwa ni kutumia zaidi ya bilioni 6.2 kupitia hazina ya uimarishaji wa mafuta, ile tunaita kwa kimombo Petroleum Stabilization Fund. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri kueleza Wakenya tayari shilingi bilioni 6.2 zimeweza kutumiwa tayari kuweza kupunguza athari ya bei na wengine, ama kuelezwa ama kusukumua vile ambavyo tunaweza kufanya. Na hii ni mojawapo ya shinikizo hili la kwamba bunge leo itasimama na itaweza kupunguza VAT kutoka asilimia 16 hadi asilimia 8, ili hiyo athari ambayo ingekuwa kwa bei ya mafuta isiwe inaangamiza Mkenya, Mheshimiwa Spika. So kwa hayo mengi ningetaka kuunga sana hoja hii na kuomba wabunge wote ambao kwa siku ya leo waweze kuunga hoja hii, tuweze kupunguza ushuru wa mafuta ili tuweze kupunguza gharama ya maisha kwa Wakenya wetu. Na niwakumbushe pia, unajua kuna wengine, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati maongeo kama hii ambao tunaongea kuhusu kupunguza gharama ya bei ya mafuta hawakuji katika bunge, Mheshimiwa Spika. lakini utawapata kule katika mazishi, utawapata kule katika rallies wakitusomea jinsi ambavyo tunafaa kufanya, na wao wamechaguliwa, wanalipwa mshahara na raia kuja kutengeneza sheria katika bunge yetu, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini ikifika hiyo hawamo. Lakini kule nje ndio wanatupigia kelele zaidi na kule kwa maredio na kwa TV wakisema jinsi ambavyo tunafaa kufanya, lakini wao hawajibiki katika kuja katika bunge kama hii kupitisha mswada siku ya leo, mswada wa kupunguza ushuru wa mafuta, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ningetaka pia wale wengine ambao wanatuangalia hapo awali, Wakenya wamechapisha majina ya bunge kulingana na zile kura wamepiga. Wakati tulikuwa tunaongeza VAT hii kutoka 8 to 16%, majina hayo yalichapishwa. Pia leo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni vizuri majina yachapishwe ya wabunge ambao wataajibika siku ya leo kupiga kura kuhakikisha kwamba tumepunguza gharama ya maisha, tumepunguza gharama ya mafuta, tumepunguza ushuru wa mafuta kutoka 16% hadi 8%, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kwa hayo mengi ningetaka kusecond. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Spika.
Those on their feet, take your seats. Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 15, which is the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, be now read a second time. Makali Mulu. Since we agreed on limited time, how many minutes do we give to each member? 3 minutes? Okay. 3 minutes, Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I do stand to support this bill, the bill for reducing VAT from 16 to 8%, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what this House has done today is very important. You know, yesterday, Honorable Speaker, when we had the reduction from 13 to 8, making the total reduction to be 50%, we were wondering whether that is within the legal framework. And it's important that, Honorable Speaker, what we have done today should be the way to go. That the reduction of VAT by beyond 25% needs the House's approval. We all live in this country. I don't think there is any stranger in Jerusalem here. And we know what is happening out there. So, honorable members, we need to caution our Kenyans, the public who are using public transport, Kenyans who are manufacturing. The cost of energy has gone very high because of this increase in oil prices. So I think we need to pass this bill as soon as possible. But I also want to urge the government, Honorable Speaker, because I've had Kenyans debating about why is oil cheaper in Uganda, in Tanzania, and the neighboring country as compared to Kenya. The reason is because of the taxes and the levies we boast to the product, because we get them from the same source. So, Majority Leader, we could also blow upon the government to look further at what other areas we can actually reduce the levies and the taxes so that we make oil cheaper for Kenyans. And I like the idea of the 90 days, because if the situation improves because of the war, then we can go back to 16%, but we'll have taken care of our people so that Kenyans don't suffer more than they have suffered. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this bill. Last night I was watching The Citizen, and Honorable Kuria was among the panelists. And I think we were debating as if we don't live in this country, or we don't understand what globally is affecting the world. The issue of this war, even if it's going to end tomorrow, the residual effect is going to be long, and it is likely to impact the world even more than what we are seeing today. And this bill, and I think this is why this government is following the law, and it must follow the law. Nothing will have the full force of law under Article 94, Sub-Article 5, unless this House passes. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the leadership of the House and also the government for taking quick action on this particular matter, and I support the bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to laud the majority party and on their good thinking to reduce the prices by lowering the VAT. Honorable Speaker, while costing the petroleum sector, it's a very unique and rare sector, Honorable Speaker, that what you look at, many people would want to say the oil today is cheaper and tomorrow is expensive. Why? Because, Honorable Speaker, the costing in the sector is such that you only cost your product on replacement basis. Whereas you are selling the stocks in the pipeline today, where are you going to get the stock tomorrow when you go to the market to buy? You are going to buy at the present price internationally from the UAE or wherever you are getting the product from. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, it's important that the government is only left with one option. The domestic option is to reduce the taxes, because the international market, Honorable Speaker, the government has no role, cannot play in that section, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, the government is doing well to reduce from 16 to 8. However, Honorable Speaker, many a times we look at other formulas on how, Honorable Speaker, they can work out. The issue of excise duty, let them have the option, Honorable Speaker, so that whereas we are looking at the value-added tax, what are we doing on excise duty, Honorable Speaker? Will it be good enough to reduce the excise duty on petroleum product? That is the only source of revenue, Honorable Speaker, that is left for the government. Therefore, if we will be importing product in to ship in and loosen everything, it will have no value in terms of supporting the government. Even the infrastructure itself.
8%, Mr. Speaker, is a decision that will make the economy of this country go back on its track. We were a little bit taken off track by the increase in fuel prices, the increase in energy prices because of the war in the Middle East. And to give chance to our colleagues, Mr. Speaker, to add their voices, I want to say this is a welcome move so that the cost of living is reduced, so that the effect on inflation is reduced, so that at least production in this country can continue. And Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Kibagendi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would also like to add my voice to this. It is a welcome move by government to reduce VAT, which indeed affects literally every sector of the economy. While this is a wonderful and welcome move, how I wish the government can do more and bring about the subsidies and anything else that can be done to cushion Kenyans. We truly appreciate the effort, and we hope that more can be done. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this very important bill that has been brought by the majority leader. Honorable Speaker, the first thing is the importance of the commencement date. Honorable Speaker, as indicated in the bill, it says that this act may be cited as the Value-Added Tax Amendment Act 2026 and shall be deemed to come into effect on the 15th. Honorable Speaker, that is very key and very important that as we finish today, the act becomes, once it is accented to, it becomes into law. Second, Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that some of the people who make a lot of noise out there, who ought to have been here to be able to contribute to this very important legislation, are not here. But we want to appreciate, Honorable Speaker, that the government has taken, through this bill, has taken some steps to be able to address a very, very important aspect. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, is to assure Kenyans that we had an opportunity to be able to go through this process with the respective the ministry and the respective stakeholders. Honorable Speaker, it's my to say to Kenyans that we have enough fuel, petroleum products in the country, and we are just hoping that EPRA will also take their responsibility for doing the enforcement and compliance for those who fall.
Yes, Shakil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Firstly, I support this emergency action and by the government to reduce from 16 to 8%. Mr. Speaker, this should be added on with certain other measures to make the right effect onto the consumers. We have a Petroleum Development Levy Fund, Mr. Speaker, sir, and this should be working in concurrence, and if the chairman of the finance was listening, perhaps he might, chairman of finance, if you listen to us, Bonakuria, you took.
That you listen to him.
I would kindly request that if you, I followed what you said very well. The Petroleum Development Levy Fund should be linked in as a twin action so that we can reduce emergency, reduce the cost of cost of fuel, and an economic revive the economy of this country. I've read a lot about this particular aspect. I would request also that paraffin, and there's not much use of paraffin. Paraffin should be zero rated or reduced to zero. It will not have much of an effect, but will help wananchi in the reserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukunji. There's a mic there. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to say that I support the reduction, but also, Speaker, I want to say that we need to do more because, Honorable Speaker, every single part of our lives, when it comes to fuel prices, it is affected, Honorable Speaker. Many of the messages I'm getting on my phone since yesterday, Honorable Speaker, involves increment in prices of commodities, including cement. And Honorable Speaker, we need to look on how we can even do more. We have the Honorable Speaker fuel levy that we also can do something to reduce so that, Honorable Speaker, we can even go further down when it comes to the prices of diesel and petrol. Honorable Speaker, also, there has been a lot of debate, and the chair financed and a very vibrant debate yesterday. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this House must also look at this thing that is being called G2G agreement and clearly define whether it is truly G2G. There is sentiment that on one side is government to government, but on this other side, Honorable Speaker, there is no government. It is individuals that are benefiting. And then we are still using the word G2G, Honorable Speaker. When it comes to fuel, we don't want to look at this and say we should have done more as a House. I propose we look at even how to reduce on the fuel levy, see how we can remove the increased 8 shillings.
Your time is up. Yes, Bonnie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me say on onset, I'm supporting this proposal by the CS Finance. Mr. Speaker, last week, 2 weeks ago, we met the CS National Treasury to explain how the government is prepared to handle the fuel crisis, which is affecting globally. And 3 issues came out on how to cushion Kenyans on fuel prices. One of them being reduction of VAT, looking for alternative sources of fuel, especially from Africa. And of course, because these effects are going to affect the budget, we also looked at second supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, 2001, the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, we conducted an inquiry on fuel prices in the country, and we realized that 50% of the fuel pump price is taxes. These taxes include VAT, excise duty, import duty, and various levies, including load and maintenance levy, petroleum development, and railway development levy, and other levies. Mr. Speaker, these taxes have made, and levies have made our fuel very expensive. As we talk now, Kenya fuel pump price for petrol is 206, while Tanzania is 190, and Uganda is 187. So there's a urgent need really to review all these taxes so that our fuel can be cheaper and reduce the effect of production, because fuel is also being used for manufacturing, and reduce the cost of.
Moses Kirima.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for seeing me. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me a chance to contribute to this important bill before us, that the reduction of 8% from the VAT 16% is a positive direction which the government has taken to caution Kenyans against the escalating prices of fuel, which has been necessitated by the war between Iran, America, and Israel. As Speaker, mine is that in addition to that, I have something which I would like Chairman to debate or to contribute to, that Kenya discovered its own well sometimes back. And well is a necessary commodity and a compulsory one. If we had developed our own wells, if we had developed and exploited the resources we have, we could not be facing what we are facing now. Because if you hear of Southern Sudan, Nigeria, Angola, and some few other countries, they are not undergoing what we are undergoing a stressful moment. Because as we speak, from cow feed to underwear, even a food to put on the table, everything has been increased due to the escalation of oil prices. Why can't we as Kenyans sacrifice in one or the other and look at that direction of developing our own well, yet we have wells which we have discovered? Petrol has been discovered in Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and nobody has ever spoken about it and what we are supposed to do to have production which can assist Kenya. We can have massive wealth if we develop our own well. That's what.
Time up. Member for Kapchai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the onset, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this bill. I support with the intention, Mr. Speaker, that is going to reduce the cost of production in this country on so many products, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I support this, in mind, even the transport industry, Mr. Speaker, must heed. If the fuel has been reduced, they must also reduce fare instantly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's not fair that fuel has been reduced in price, on the pump price, but this transport industry, Mr. Speaker, have continuously increased these costs. We want it to be instantly communicated to us that fares are reduced. Mr. Speaker, you know very well that I come from a region, okay, where you come from, very important with border. That's where it was born and where it's actually doing very well. That is an interest, Mr. Speaker, and we must nurture. So I would urge to be reduced even further from 8 to 0. That will even save us more, but that will be progressive. But I want to thank you, Majority Leader, for bringing up this bill to bring down this one and remove it. But finally, Mr. Speaker, I am concerned because recently we had an issue to do with the fuel in this country. That problem, Mr. Speaker, we are left to wonder, why are some of those 4 senior officers whose case is still under investigation, but who are forced to resign from their jobs, Mr. Speaker? We want to know why. Because until the case is determined and we know whether they are right or wrong, they will not have been forced to resign at gunpoint in the...
Sane.
Mr. Speaker, the Strait of Hormuz, what's happening there has global impact. And Kenya being an oil-producing country, it is normal, very natural that prices of commodities have to respond to the forces of market, supply and demand. So when prices of fuel escalate, it is not a political issue, neither an executive thing, but response to an economic situation globally. Mr. Speaker, I was reading churches have organized for mass action just because prices of fuel has increased. For God's sake, this is not the making of any government, any president. It is a response, natural response to what's happening globally. And what the government has done today is to at least cushion the consumers or Kenyans so that VAT is reduced at least by 8 shillings. That itself is a concerned, sensitive government doing the right thing. So mine is to appeal to the Kenyans out there, the religious bodies, be they Christians or Muslims or Hindus, that they should at least read the mood of the situation and not apportion all blame to the government and see what is true in every problem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise, first of all, to support this amendment bill to try and manage the fuel cost out there. Honorable Speaker, with my 19 years experience in petroleum, because that's the industry where I operate, Honorable Speaker, the biggest challenges with many governments is not taking into consideration the oscillating nature of the global pricing of petroleum and petroleum products. Honorable Speaker, this is where our country, Kenya, has been trapped into. That most taxes and levies are increased during the downward oscillation. Honorable Speaker, it is this very House that did increase the taxes and the 7 shilling in the RMLF while we had a downward oscillation. Some of us did rise in this House and said, this is going to be a dangerous move once we have an upward oscillation. That is what we have currently. Honorable Speaker, I request that while this measure is in the positive direction, it should not be a temporary measure. Because if we are going to have it for 90 days and the oscillation goes downwards, what happens when it goes upwards? Will we be having such a bill every now and then? Honorable Speaker, also would request that the 7 shilling that was increased in 2024 in the RMLF also be considered and be withdrawn to ensure we cushion the Kenyan even further. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, George Murugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I do also support this bill. It's a very timely bill, absolutely. The government reacting to what has just taken place, which is affecting our people negatively, such that we try to cushion them from the very high cost of living. We know very well that the government does not have any other farm. It has no industries. It has nowhere to get funds from apart from taxes. And whatever we do, we cannot do without taxes unless we are saying we do not expect the government to render any services to Kenyans. However, when the time comes and when necessity calls, it is important to relook at those taxes for the sake of making it easier and better for Kenyans to have a better living. So this is one timely bill which I do support and urge the government, as my colleagues are doing, if there is anything else that can be done to bring the cost of fuel down, let it be done. Although we cannot say that we have to zero rate fuel, because sometimes we need that tax so that we are able to provide other services, including medical services, including to do our roads and anything else that needs to be done. Most important is that this is temporal, that for 90 days we shall be monitoring the market. We pray to God that the combatants in the Far East, in the Far East will be touched and that there will be peace, as a result of which these prices will stabilize.
The war is in the Near East.
It is in the Near East, yes. And that they will be touched by the grace of God, and that we will have these prices stabilizing and we are able to move on with our normal life. I do support this particular.
Carola Mondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this bill, but I would like to know...
Where is Owen Bayer? When Carol finishes, it will be your time to reply.
But I would like to note one or two issues. Honorable Speaker, I think the government is only committing 6 billion out of the 17 billion that is within the stabilization fund. I would urge that they commit more. But other than that, the 5 shillings and 40 cents that we pay for stabilization should have also been waived alongside the reduction on the VAT for that period that is in question, so as to give the consumers more relief. But it is also time to interrogate the G2G framework that is being used to import fuel in this country. I understand that under the term contract, it is the suppliers, Saudi Aramco and the rest, who nominate the company, the local company that uplifts the fuel and handles their local logistics. Honorable Speaker, if you look at oil industries, companies offer different efficiency levels, different logistics, different financial capacities. And since we had the G2G, it has been one company that is controlling between 60 to 70% of the supplies. But it is a very small company that does not boast of high efficiency, better logistics in terms of depots, better storage. And because of that, the prices have not come down under the G2G framework. There have been very good things under the G2G framework. There's been security of supply and also stabilization of the forex. But there's something in fuel supply which is called the fixed premium. The fixed premium fluctuates month by month basis, and that is why fuel is cheaper in Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania. In Kenya, it has been fixed at $110 per ton. When the contracts were signed, it was actually between 60 and 70. That reason alone makes our fuel more expensive, and I think we need to review this. Finally, I would urge the government to be truthful with Kenyans. When they say the Paloma fuel...
I will give David Ocheng 1 minute and Mwalimu Kombe 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Desperate times require this kind of measures, and therefore we must commend those concerned for swift action, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this, of course, should not lull us, because you don't know how long this whole affair in the Strait of Hormuz will go on, and even us as Parliament, without executive intervention, should also start thinking about what can we do as Parliament ourselves without being brought a bill like this one to ensure that Kenyans also get the relief that they need. Mr. Speaker, as this happens, we also want to ask those who are concerned with implementing laws and policies we've passed in this Parliament, that this should be implemented in fidelity to the law. We should follow the law as it is. No one should seek to benefit or take advantage of this situation to enrich themselves, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's for Kenyans that we passed this today. It's for Kenyans that this Parliament is sitting here and is attentive, because we want to see relief. All of us want to see relief. This should not be taken advantage of by anybody. If that is done, Mr. Speaker.
Kombe, your time is up. David.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii. Kwanza niseme ninaunga mkono mswada huu wa kupunguza ushuru wa mafuta. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo jema kwamba serikali wameamua kufanya hivyo, kwa sababu inasaidia wananchi kwa mambo mengi. Vitu vingi kwa saa hii vimepanda bei, lakini wapo ushuru utakuwa umepungua, hivyo basi itakuwa inatoa nafasi ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya wanaweza kupata nafuu katika gharama ya maisha. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi jana walikimbilia kwa runinga
kwa ajili ya kukashifu na kuitisha maandamano. Lakini jambo la kusikitisha kwa saa hii ni kwamba hakuna hata mmoja wao yuko hapa ndani kuunga mkono kupunguzwa kwa ushuru wa mafuta.
Time up. Wandeto, the last one. 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. I support the VAT reduction from 16 to 8% to avoid the spiraling costs across the economy. But, Mr. Speaker, this should be a start. We can even temporarily lower or remove other tariffs such as excise duty and even the petroleum levy. And we can also tap the entire 16 billion in the fuel stabilization fund so that we can be able to achieve even lower costs. However, Mr. Speaker, we must also accelerate our energy security program through EV adoption. What do we do with our Turkana oil? We killed our refinery. That was a mistake. Shouldn't we also expand our strategic reserves, diversify our sources outside the Middle East to other African countries? And we have also to look at the entire value chain. Currently, the G2G thing is not working. It has been called government to gangster. But, Mr. Speaker, as I finish, it's sad that we are here regularizing what was already announced yesterday. Someone is undermining Parliament. And, Mr. Speaker, you have to protect Parliament from being undermined by...
Owen Bayer.
Thank you, Speaker. And I want to thank every member that joined in this debate and their overwhelming support. I think this is one of the few motions, Honorable Speaker, that everybody has supported, and I want to thank members. In reply, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we joined the league of other countries, such as South Africa, Zambia, Namibia, Ghana, who have also done the same in their parliaments. They have actually gone to reduce taxes in order to cushion their countrymen and women. And I think we are on the right trajectory. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we are not just reducing fuel cost, but we are saving our economy. This move, Honorable Speaker, is not just about reduction of the fuel cost, but we are actually saving our economy because fuel, the effect and impact on fuel goes along many other sectors, and this is a move on the right direction. Honorable Speaker, I also want to say that I want to note what members have said, that we need to go deeper to look at the other levies and many other things so that we can bring down the cost. And I think this government is alive to such things, that we need to do everything possible to ensure that the prices of fuel do not skyrocket. And it is at a time like this, Honorable Speaker, that parliaments rise to the occasion to protect their citizens. And we have done that under your leadership, Honorable Speaker, and this 13th Parliament will be remembered for coming out to protect the citizens. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I want to say we need to end the war in the Far East, in the Middle East. That war needs to end because it is impacting us, a war that we never want to be involved in, but it is impacting us. And therefore, as we amplify our voices, let those that are responsible for this war end it so that we may not continue to have this fuel crisis as we have now. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I reply.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 15, which is that the value-added tax amendment bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Value Added Tax Act and for connected purposes. Order number 16, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable members, will you be upstanding?
Honorable members, we are now in the Committee of the Whole House to consider the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026.
Close to.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Leader of majority, you had an amendment?
Yeah, Honorable Chair, we propose that we drop this amendment for the single reason that we do not want to give further extension apart from the one that we have given already. And therefore,
you have withdrawn it on record. Very well. Honorable members, I therefore put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Has no amendment. I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we have come to the end of that Committee of the Whole. I will ask the mover to move the reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill, number 21 of 2026, and its approval thereof without amendments.
Very well. I therefore put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, and its approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, and approved the same without amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request the Honorable Murungara to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second.
Thank you. Kuria Kimani, take your seat. Today you are very mobile. Honorable members, I now propose the question is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Question. I now put the question, honorable members, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
On Speaker, I beg to move that the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, be now read a third time. I also request the Honorable Kuria Kimani to second.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to second.
Thank you, honorable members. I now propose the question, which is that the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, be now read a third time. We put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 21 of 2026, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Value Added Tax Act and for connected purposes.
Thank you, honorable members. We now go back to order number 7. We were left with one statement by the majority leader. Call it out.
Order number 8, questions and statements.
Number 8 or number 7? Order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Majority leader.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2a, I rise to present the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 14th April 2026, to prioritize business for consideration during the week and the business coming before the House in the following week. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the business schedule for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to continue with the consideration of the following bills should they not be concluded today. 1, the Local Content Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2025. 2, the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill 2025. And 3, the Forest Conservation and Management Amendment Bill 2025. Of note, Honorable Speaker, the House will also consider Special Economic Zones Bill 2026 at the Committee of the Whole House. To this end, honorable members desirous of proposing amendments to the bill are encouraged to file them with the clerk for publication in the order paper within the timelines prescribed in the standing order. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the House will continue with the consideration of the following motions should they not be concluded today. Of course, they will not be concluded today. Honorable 7th report of the audited accounts of various state companies, corporations for the financial year 2018-2019, 2020-2021. 2, inquiry into the pricing of tea in Kenya. 3, 6th report on the audited accounts for the Stores and Services Fund and Occupational Safety and Health Fund for the financial year 2020-2021 and 2021-2022. 4, reports on audited accounts of selected state corporations in the roads and transport sector. 5, 10th report on the audited accounts of the National Government Constituency Development Fund for the financial years 2017 to 2016 to 2017 to 2021-2022. 6, 11th report on the audited accounts of the National Government Constituency Development Fund for the financial year 2016-2017 to 2021-2022. 7, report on public petition number 21 of 2025 regarding access to health care by cancer patients in the country. 8, report on the inspection visit to the East African Science and Technology Commission and the East African Health Research Commission. And 9, report of the Kenya delegation to the 151st Assembly to the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5, and 6, I wish to convey that 2 cabinet secretaries are scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 22nd April 2026, to respond to members' questions. They are the Cabinet Secretary for Education, who will respond to the following questions. Ordinary question number 007-2026 by the member for Kathiani, the Honorable Robert Mbui, CBS MP, regarding whether the enrollment of in Tier 1 and Tier 2 schools has increased disproportionately to the detriment of Tier 3 and Tier 4 schools, which are now facing possible closure due to the declining student population. Ordinary question number 08 of 2026 by the member for Likoni, the Honorable Mishi Mboko MP, regarding the strategies by the Ministry and the Teacher Service Commission to alleviate the teacher shortage in Likoni sub-county. And 3, ordinary question number 009 of 2026 by the member for Yatta, the Honorable Robert Basil MP, regarding harmonization of job grades, promotions, and payment of salaries, arrears for P1 teachers who upgraded to a diploma in ACD but have stagnated in job group grade C1 since 2015. The Cabinet Secretary for Water and Sanitation, who will respond to the following questions. 1, ordinary question number 10 of 2026 by the member for Rongo, the Honorable Paul Abur MP, regarding the inordinate delay in procurement of another contractor for supplementation for completion of construction of the Rongo Town Water Supply Project, and ordinary question number 10 of 2026 by the member for Ikolomani, the Honorable Bernard Shinali, MP, regarding status of operationalization of government-funded water projects in Luanaswa, Kasavai, Shinyika, Lirembe, Luenya, Shisele, Sabane, and St. Anne's Musoli Girls Primary School. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee shall convene on Tuesday, 21st April 2026 to schedule business for the rest of that week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House, and as I do, Honorable Speaker, I want to very sincerely thank every member for helping us and contributing to the VAT bill that we just, amendment bill we just concluded. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Hoja, ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wa kati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Mtoa hoja kuhitimisha.
Nani alikuwa akichangia hoja hilo? Ni nani alikuwa anachangia hiyo hoja? Ni Aidan Mayaka. Na Aidan Mayaka yuko amebakiza dakika ngapi? Sema hiyo kwa Kiswahili. Hoja nidhamu, sema na hoja gani ya nidhamu? Ni nidhamu gani imegeukwa? Ama imekeukwa? Angalia kwa mkono wako wa kushoto utapata.
Bwana Spika, tunaomba clerk arudie kile ambacho amesoma. Hatujasikia chochote kile amesema. Kwa hivyo
yani hoja ambayo imeandikwa kwa order paper hujasikia ikisomwa. Inasema order ni kwa Kiswahili nini? Shughuli ya 9. Basi niyo tu. Hebu karani wa meza sema hiyo kwa Kiswahili.
Shughuli ya 9 maybe asome kile amesema, manake hatujasikia.
Haya, rudia hiyo.
Shughuli ya 9, hoja, ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wa kati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Nafikiri aliyekuwa kwenye akichangia hii hoja kwa kujibu alikuwa ni Madam Mayaka. Ni Mheshimiwa Mayaka. Irene Mayaka.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi ili nihitimishe hoja hili ambalo tulijadiliana na wabunge wenzangu ambao walikuwa hapa, walisaidia kwa kutupa ushirikiano katika hoja hili ambalo kamati letu la utangamano wa kikanda ama kwa kimombo regional integration liliwasilisha katika bunge hili. Mheshimiwa Spika, labda ili nisaidie mwenzangu Mheshimiwa Charles Nguna ni kumweleza ya kwamba hili lilikuwa hoja ambalo sisi kama kamati tulileta mbele ya bunge hili ili tujadiliane, tuone ya kwamba vipendekezo ambazo tulikuwa nazo kana kwamba ile ya kusema ya kwamba Kiswahili ya Afrika Mashariki ifadhiliwe kifedha na pia kiwafanyikazi, kwa sababu tuko na ushirikiano na tuko na commission ya Kiswahili pale Zanzibar ambayo tunataka isaidiwe. La pili ni kwamba bunge liunge mkono mafunzo ya Kiswahili kwa wabunge na wafanyikazi wa bunge. Wizara ambayo inahusika na masuala ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ijihusishe kidiplomasia kushughulikia changamoto ambazo ni za lugha ya Kiswahili. Mheshimiwa Spika, sababu muhimu ambayo kamati yetu inachangia ya kwamba tukue na hii mjadala ni kwa sababu tunataka kueneza ya kwamba lugha ya Kiswahili katika eneo ya Afrika Mashariki iweze kutumika kana kwamba ni majadiliano ambayo inahusu uchumi, upanuzi wa biashara, ushirikiano wa kitamaduni na utulivu wa kisiasa kati ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, tukikumbuka ya kwamba hivi majuzi ambayo ni mwezi uliopita tulikuwa na mkutano wa marais wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ambao walipatana na wakazidi kusisitiza ya kwamba sisi kama nchi ambazo ziko katika jumuiya hii tuendelee kusaidiana, tuendelee kuwajibiana na tuendelee kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunafanya biashara pamoja, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, kama nchi yetu hii ya Kenya tunafanya biashara mingi zaidi katika mkanda huu wa Afrika Mashariki kushinda pande yote ingine katika dunia hii. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka tu kuwashauri wabunge wenzangu tushirikiane kwa maneno haya, na pia kuna mbunge mmoja ambaye aliongea hapa na akasema ya kwamba sisi kama wabunge wa Kenya tunafaa ya kwamba tuweke kando siku moja, hata kama ni masaa mawili, tuweze kuongelea lugha ya Kiswahili, kwa sababu hii ndio lugha ambayo tunatumia ambapo tunaongea na wananchi pale katika tunapotafuta kura na tunapoongelesha wananchi. Kwa hivyo tunasisitiza ya kwamba hata sisi wanabunge wakati ambapo tuko hapa bungeni tushirikiane, tuongee lugha hii ya Kiswahili. Kwa hayo machache, Mheshimiwa Spika, ningetaka tu kuchukua fursa hii kushukuru ofisi ya Mheshimiwa Spika, ofisi ya Katibu Mkuu wa Bunge ambayo ni ofisi ya clerk, kushukuru kamati yangu ambayo ni kamati ya utengamano wa kikanda ama kwa kimombo kamati ya regional integration, kwa kuhusika pamoja kuhakikisha kwamba ripoti hii imefika katika nyumba hii, tumeweza kuiongelea, tumeweza kujadiliana, na nataka kuwahimiza wenzangu ya kwamba mtusaidie ili tupitishe hoja hii. Kwa hayo mengi, Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kuhitimisha. Asante.
Hongera kwa Mheshimiwa Irene Mayaka kwa kuendeleza hii hoja kwa lugha yetu ya kitaifa. Mimi sasa nikiwa nimethibitisha kwamba kuna akidi kwa minajili ya bunge kufanya uamuzi, naitoa hoja iamuliwe kwamba bunge la taifa iridhie ripoti ya kamati ya utangamano wa kikanda kuhusu ziara ya ukaguzi kwa taasisi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wa kati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, iliyowasilishwa kwenye meza ya bunge Jumatano tarehe 9 Aprili ama mwezi wa 4 mwaka wa 2025. Wanaunga waseme ndio, wasiounga waseme la. Wanaunga wameshinda na hoja imekubaliwa. Leo ninatafakari kwamba nimeweza kuhitimisha hii hoja tukiwa tunatumia lugha yetu ya kitaifa ya Kiswahili. Haya, hoja inayofuata.
Order number 10, the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Criminal Procedure Code.
Next order.
Order number 11, the Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2026, first reading.
Next order.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Penal Code.
Next order.
Order number 12, the Traffic Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Traffic Act and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 13, the Income Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 20 of 2026. First reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Income Tax Act and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 17, the Local Content Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2025. Second reading, resumption of debate.
Who was on the floor the last time? Who was this? Who was the last person on the floor? And how many minutes did she or he have remaining? Irene Jockey. Is she in the house? I know. Okay. Any member who's interested now can proceed. And yes, Honorable Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is a very noble, progressive, transformative in all intent. It gives us a golden opportunity to reflect on how we do business and trade with ourselves and with other countries. The bill supposes that local content be protected, some form of protectionism, rather, trying to make sure that our small, nascent industries thrive without being engulfed or suffocated by multinationals. That they are given the space to grow and grow to an international level. That is the intent, kind of, a very noble thing. So as to create employment. We don't have to send our Gen Zs, our youth, for risky errands, crossing the Pacific in search of employment. We protect what we have and absorb most of the unemployed youth locally. That is what it proposes. That prevents the development and growth of local talents because of that kind of protectionism for both the industry and manpower growth. It synergizes local supplies, strengthens it, so that multinationals in this country can also have an appendage of some local content, for the supply is intended to come from home, Mr. Speaker. For quite some time, the benefit of multinationals has been going out of this country, and the host country has always not received commensurate benefit for all the profits they earn in the year. So that is the kind of mindset I have seen our good lady, Honorable Jane, espoused in her bill. However, I'm a bit distracted how this bill is practical. How can it be implemented? Majorly, this work goes to the government. It is the government to do this protectionism. But what it proposes in terms of penalties, regulations by the CS, I feel this bill has to strike a balance between the good things it is trying to give in one hand, proposes, and the actual practicability, implementation. How can a multinational be forced to build the capacity of a local entity? I think that begs for many questions. They have come to trade, they have license. It is not upon any multinational to build the capacity of our local institutions. That is the work of our government. It is at the work of our government to give subsidies so that our small industries are not suffocated, they are cushioned, and they get an edge in terms of being competitive and offering better services locally. This bill raises serious compliance issues. How do you really comply? Through this bill, How do you force multinationals to comply with the requirements of this law? Who is the monitor? Who is the prefect? Who shall make sure that these big companies, some of them more powerful than the government, how they can comply with these regulations, Mr. Speaker? The issue of, there is the risk of flight of investors with this kind of strict regulations, because it doesn't talk about quality, attainment of standards required by the same foreign investors, because it's upon us to also showcase our talents and make to international standards. Without that, if we just make sure that all companies, international investors, comply with these rules as espoused, then there will be some kind of deterrence. Investors will leave the country. They will avoid these complications and bottlenecks. And there is the consequences of losing on other benefits once they leave, both in terms of employment and investment, Mr. Speaker. Then conflicts. Imagine of trying to implement, once this bill passes and the president assents to it, can we think of the consequences? Can there be some antagonism, conflict with World Trade Organization rules? That is a concern. Kenya must have international obligations. It is a member of the WTO. So there is that possibility of coming up with conflicts unprepared, and we may not be prepared. So we need to be very thorough and look it through thoroughly and make sure that it can be implemented seamlessly without causing any negative. So it's about balancing the benefits we will accrue from this bill and its practicality rather. And most of the work, who is the regulator in this bill? Who will regulate that these international corporations, international investors, companies comply? And what is the form of compliance? It's a big concern, it's a big issue, in as much as the thinking is good. The intentions are clear and well intended. I believe there are so many things that are discordant, and these bills needs rethinking further. With those few remarks, I still support reluctantly, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I would like to congratulate my good friend, the Honorable Jane Kagiri, for coming up with this very timely and useful bill, the local content bill, Honorable Speaker. This morning, Honorable Speaker, we did visit as a Committee of Finance and National Planning a company called M-Kopa. So M-Kopa is a company based here in Australia. They manufacture phones, smartphones. They do local assembly of smartphones. And Honorable Speaker, it was very interesting to note that they actually make 7,500 smartphones a day. They're employing over 400 people. But the question is, are these phones being consumed locally, Honorable Speaker? And this just demonstrates that it's actually possible for this country to assemble, to manufacture anything. And this is a protection that this bill, Honorable Speaker, sponsored by the Honorable Jane Kagiri, is seeking to do. Honorable Speaker, the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya, we had a discussion with them, I think 2 weeks ago. And one of the commitments they are making is that out of all priority medicine, they are going to make sure that by the end of the year, they will manufacture 24 of the priority medicine here in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, these are investors, these are Kenyans that have demonstrated that if they are given the correct policies, if they are given the correct incentives, then we can actually grow our local manufacturing and we can ensure, Honorable Speaker, that we have those local content, Honorable Speaker. But I think, in addition, as we put this into law, we need to put this in our hearts. Because, Honorable Speaker, how many of us consume local products? You know, we were laughing the other day. One of my colleagues was telling me he went to London to buy a shirt, to the US to buy a shirt, and bought a shirt coming back, only to realize it is manufactured here in Nakuru by Bedi Manufacturing, Honorable Speaker. But they think that because you bought it in London or because you bought it in the US, it's much of a better quality than if it was bought here, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in the Finance Act of 2023, this House did approve and introduce excise duty and on locally on imported furniture, Honorable Speaker. And it's very beautiful to note, Honorable Speaker, even our lounge here and all our space, Honorable Speaker, we are seeing furniture that are not imported. We are seeing furniture that has been locally made. We are seeing jobs, therefore, that has been created by that local manufacturer, Honorable Speaker. So it's very important that in as much as we are saying that we approve this particular creation of local content, we must begin in our hearts as Kenyans to appreciate that Kenya has become of age, that there are so many products that can be manufactured, Honorable Speaker. So that, you know, we asked at the conference for the pharmaceuticals, if you find 2 drugs, if you go for a Panadol, and there is one written made in Kenya, and there is another one made in India, and another one made in the US, which one would you buy? Honorable Speaker, that's where I'm saying we must begin by a change of attitude, that we have local products. We have, for example, this House approved in the last Finance Act, Honorable Speaker, incentives to local manufacturing of tiles. And now we've seen that sector has really grown. We are seeing a lot of locally manufactured tiles, Honorable Speaker, across the country, Honorable Speaker. And this is even driving the housing agenda. So, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to congratulate the Honorable Jane Kagiri for this particular very timely bill, but also ask Kenyans that let us begin from our hearts, that shirt, that furniture, like that, whatever that is locally made, Kenya has become of maturity to manufacture key products, Honorable Speaker. And lastly, we've seen what reliance on imports can do. Someone in the US decides to flex their muscles with another country in Iran, and all of a sudden it's affecting us because of that particular value chain. COVID-19, Honorable Speaker, taught us that we cannot rely on imports. We cannot rely on these things we're importing from China and other countries. So it's my urge that all of us are going to embrace Buy Kenya, we build Kenya. We are going to be proud of our products, and this particular bill will enhance and make sure that priority is given to local content, even on public procurement, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, I did, Honorable Speaker, sponsor a bill, and this House actually did pass up all the way up to the Committee of the Honorable Speaker on increasing the threshold for local contractors to 1 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker. However, 1 year later, the bill is still at the Senate, Honorable Speaker, and they have not processed that bill. And I think this is to urge our leadership. We have several PFM marks. We have that procurement law that is pending before the Senate to fast track these particular laws, because the intention why we work on these laws is because they are supposed to fix particular problems, Honorable Speaker. And when now Senate sleeps on these particular bills for so long, Honorable Speaker, then justice delayed becomes justice denied. With that, I beg to support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Madam Wandeto, do you want to communicate or you want to communicate with somebody else? You want to contribute or you're communicating with somebody? Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. And apologies. I was trying to respond to an emergency. So, but I'm ready to contribute. And Mr. Speaker, I would also like to support the local content bill. This is timely and important, and I must thank the Member of Parliament for Laikipia for finally thinking about the local person. Mr. Speaker, far too many times we see multinationals come in this country and drivers, lift operators, borehole operators, they are from other countries. And I'll give an example, and not think about the big multinational organization. We have a lot of traders in this country and I dare mention especially the ones of Asian origin, who, whenever they set up a business here, they bring a lot of unqualified characters through the back door to operate machinery, to deal with shops in industrial area, to operate borehole rigs and things like that. I have first-hand experience in this. So what we are saying here is that anybody wanting to set up a business in Kenya must somehow integrate that business with whatever materials are available here, with whatever skills is available here. Mr. Speaker, this is important even to enable local businesses grow their capacity, because everything that a growing country like ours wishes for is basically invite local investors, but then gradually grow its capacity to produce the same goods, grow its manpower to be able to operate at the same level of skills. So when we have people coming here and they are even having drivers as foreigners, I don't think this is working very well. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at especially what is happening in the construction industry, where I think we are having a very, very sad situation. We have had some of the Chinese contractors are even bringing their own cement and steel. You know, they are importing things that can be made, here in industrial area. So how, as a country, are we going to industrialize? How are we going to get to Singapore? You know, when our Singapore has been hijacked by people out there who are just bringing things. But, Mr. Speaker, this bill must also be handled with a little bit of caution, because Kenya is a signatory to very many international trade organizations, and so we also want to ensure that we respect some of those international obligations that we have as far as trade is concerned. So that's something maybe Jane needs to think through. The other thing is that we must be careful not to send the wrong signals, because we don't want an investor. We are telling them, come and invest, but then as you invest, there are all these conditions. One of the things that Kenya has managed to do very well with what we call the foreign direct investment has been that you have a fairly liberal economy. We can repatriate profits easily. You can do your thing much more freely. So there must be a careful balance. That even as this one is done, it is not sending the wrong signal. So maybe one of the things that Honorable Jane could consider is that this can be implemented gradually. 60% may be too much to ask on day one, especially on local materials. 80% of labor may also be too much to ask, from day one. And also we may need to classify. There are some industries that are very, very specialized. If today Boeing wants to come and start manufacturing aircraft here, it may take a number of years for us to really understand the technology of how this is done. So again, we may need to look at this bill and just ensure that we fine-tune it, so that especially it does not create chances for wrong signals to investors, and two, it also does not create chances for rent-seeking by local cartels. You know, Mr. Speaker, this is a country of cartels. So every time something like this happens, the cartels now want to say, since now you are a contractor, you have to give me the 60% of materials. So you may find politicians and other well-connected characters taking advantage of this, so that instead of it ending up helping the ordinary Kenyans that the Honorable Member for Laikipia seeks to help, it ends up enriching the same characters who are dealing with G2G, who are dealing with stadiums, who are dealing with, all these bombers, whereby it looks like there are some foreign investors, but it is the same characters who are, literally doing these things, just passing through the back door, and saying they are partnering with some foreign investment. So I support, but Jane has some little bit of work to do, and I think we'll further interrogate this bill as it goes through the various stages of the reading. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also add my voice in support of the very important bill, the Local Content Bill of 2025 by the Honorable Jane Kagiri. And I'd just like to, first of all, take this opportunity to thank my very good friend, Honorable Jane Kagiri, for bringing this very important and game-changer bill to the floor of this House. Honorable Speaker, currently, as the situation is, because of lack of the local content regulation framework in this country, It has caused a lot of harm in terms of inhibiting the growth of the local industry. It has made the business environment to be very unfair to the local business people, and also made them to become very incompetent. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this particular bill is very crucial in terms of ensuring that we do have a legal framework that seeks to guide the space and the manner in which the local content is undertaken in this particular country. And Honorable Speaker, just to mention, this is actually not new. We do have similar kinds of bill in other jurisdictions. For example, in Nigeria and Angola, where they majorly focus on oil and gas. We do have a similar one in Brazil, which also focuses in oil and gas. And right here in our neighboring country, Uganda, they did pass a similar bill in 2022, which focuses on ring fencing around local goods and services, and especially to big project areas. So, Honorable Speaker, this is not new, but I really am grateful that we do, and we are going to have this in our country. Honorable Speaker, just to give content and focus on some of the very important articles of this particular bill, when you look at Section 4, and especially Part 1 to 4, which majorly talks about the fact that we want to have at least 60% of foreign companies that they must procure inputs and goods and services from local manufacturers, and specifically in the areas that have been mentioned, that is the insurance sector, finance, construction, and logistical service. That's very important, Honorable Speaker, because when we put a specific figure on it, then it means that someone will not take advantage and try and say that that has not been allocated. So very important that this particular bill has mentioned that. Another important section, Honorable Speaker, is Section 4, Part 6 and 7, which speaks about at least 80% of the workforce within the foreign companies that are established in Kenya must be Kenyan citizens. Because, Honorable Speaker, what this will do, not only will it encourage more and more of our young people to get employment, but it also ensures that the skill that we do have within our country is actually used in this particular space. Because, Honorable Speaker, I'm one person who believes that Kenya has a very high literacy rate, and we do have a lot of skilled people in this particular country, that we don't need to have situations where when a foreign company is established in this country, they also bring for us people from their countries. It's very important that we must have our own people and a larger percentage of Kenyans actually occupying these particular spaces. Honorable Speaker, in terms of local ownership, and especially in the areas of oil and gas and mining. Because, Honorable Speaker, even now, as we are talking about the global crisis that we are currently experiencing, imagine a situation where we had our own oil refineries within this particular country, where we are able to get oil from Turkana, and we are able to actually refine it in this country. Honorable Speaker, I seek to pick a very good example from Nigeria, where the Dangote oil refining industry has done a very good job within that country, and it has really been supported by the government of Nigeria. If we did have a similar situation, and which this bill is going to help us with, imagine what would have happened in this particular crisis if we did have that. Honorable Speaker, in terms of compliance and penalties, which is very important, Section 4, Part 8A and B, which speaks about the fines and stringent measures that have been placed. And I'd really like to applaud the sponsor of the bill, because the fine that has been put there of 100 million and potential imprisonment of CEOs is very important to ensure that anybody who does not comply with this particular bill, once it becomes law, then it means that there will actually be consequences for non-compliance, which will ensure that people are actually taking this very seriously. Honorable Speaker, just to add in terms of the benefits, the primary benefits that we'll get from this, it's in terms of number one, economic empowerment. Because, Honorable Speaker, we seek to have a country that have many more people who are actually able to access jobs, having more people that are actually able to even make profits and actually grow our local industry. Industrial development and technology transfer, also very important, Honorable Speaker, and also in terms of conflict mitigation. Because, Honorable Speaker, if we have a resource, an area which is resource rich in a particular in a particular industry, and we are able to actually ring fence and ensure that that particular area is supported, then it actually does help us. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to urge my fellow colleagues that we do support this particular very important bill, because it's going to be a game changer in our country, and it will actually go beyond us and assist people for an eternity. With those few remarks, I support and I submit. I thank you.
The Honorable Bissau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On the onset, I would like to congratulate the very able women representative for the good people of Laikipia for this particular bill. I support it because world over, every country is protecting their local content. And even within the United Nations conventions, if you look at the World Trade Organizations, every country is doing everything deliberate to ensure that this is protected. We've seen donor funding, an example. If you're getting a donation for, let's say, transport support, you go to the Swedes, they will propose that we're giving you funds, but you'll be buying Scania. Again, why not us? And I think this was long overdue. And again, I'm really happy to support this bill, because clearly, when we are talking about addressing the issue of unemployment, this bill will certainly do that. Also, to ensure that there's no capital flight. Capital flight in the sense that when you get in more foreigners doing the jobs, whatever the earnings, they have to repatriate them back to their countries. What is critical, again, I know there might be issue of balancing the foreign investment interests and our interest as a country, but again, we are not short of expertise. Yes, we are talking about local content, but Kenya as a country, an example, if you went to NASA, you'll find there's a Kenyan there, the space agency. So we don't have a shortage of resources. So again, we need to really support this, but again, we must walk the talk. An example today, even through devolution, we're having many projects being worked out at the county level. An example, the housing project. We would like to see that, an example, by walking the talk, even the local content that's supposed to be available in that county, an example, fabrication of windows and doors. And it's good that the housing department is actually practicing this. We've seen that there'll be a lot of needs for lifts. And already, from the latest approach from the State Department of Housing, is to ensure that if you have to supply lifts, they have to be locally manufactured. So we must protect this, and we protect it with zeal. And lastly, even within the United Nations, where I was in charge of procurement for technical items sitting in Geneva, there was a component of local content, meaning that when you're in some operational area, you have to ensure that staff, a certain percentage or a certain quota must be from that area. Materials, the same thing. So I support, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Ochieng David.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Jane Kagiri for this very important bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll contribute to this as a person who has done work in this area for a long time in international trade, where I advise so many countries on rules of origin negotiations. Mr. Speaker, I would like to give an example of what Jane Kagiri, the Honorable Jane Kagiri, is talking about. Mr. Speaker, when you did our first SGR, the amount of cement used in doing that SGR, Mr. Speaker, could actually establish a whole cement industry. But what happened? When the Chinese came here, they imported all the cement that was used to do the whole SGR from Mombasa to Naivasha. We had our own companies complaining. You know what they said? That the cement produced locally in Kenya is not suited for this construction, Mr. Speaker. And so they asked, what is lacking in that cement that if you put in there would work for us? So, Speaker, it was a back and forth. By the time we were allowing our local cement to be used in the SGR, The Chinese had imported so much cement, they were selling some of it locally, Mr. Speaker. So we did a project that is worth $500 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, without a single factory or town rising on the wake of it. Mr. Speaker, contradicting that with the original 100 gauge railway. When it was done, it laid rise to 100 towns, starting from Mombasa through Voi all the way to Butere and into Malaba, the railway line, the only regional one. That was done at 10% of the SGR. The SGR costed more than $500 billion, no single town on its wake, no single factory on its wake. Mr. Speaker, we were importing bolts and nuts. We have a factory in this country owned by the government of Kenya called the Numerical Machining Company, which was well suited. Given 3, 4, 5 months, they have been able to do all the bolts and nuts and the rolling stock. They were not given a chance. What is the net effect of the same? That we spend over $1 trillion shillings keeping people at work in China, making bolts and nuts, making cement, making rolling stock, and we're talking about jobs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, talk about furniture. Go to any government office today, and I've been here when Kibaki was president. I've been here when Uhuru was president. In this administration, we've been told that we will not import any furniture. Some of the best furniture, Mr. Speaker, are produced here in Mombasa Road. But you have ministries importing furniture every single day. Mr. Speaker, in the housing, and you're putting so much money in housing today, Mr. Speaker, and if you see what's happening there, if you're not careful, we'll again lose this local content that Honorable Jen Kagari is talking about. Mr. Speaker, if you see how the Chinese are building now, they fabricate walls, they do cement, water, and sand in China. They bring walls already done. That's why they are building houses in a month. Because they bring here walls already done. They tell you this will take 2 months. When you allow the Chinese to bring a wall already done, what do you mean? You are importing water, you are importing sand, you are importing cement, you are importing labor. Mr. Speaker, local content is at the key of industrializing of any country. If you can't enforce rules on local content, you can't industrialize. And that is why I'm happy that this is going to be a law, not a policy, not a suggestion, not a speech by a president, but a law passed by this parliament, Mr. Speaker, that if in future we want to distribute fertilizer in this country, and we are spending humongous amounts of money importing fertilizer, we will require factories that are giving us fertilizer to set up shop locally. We will require them to import some raw material, but we will require them to obtain some locally. We will require them to give our local labor to produce fertilizer, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, there was a plan to bring it to Nairobi, the rapid bus transit system. And our companies here in this area were saying, you can produce these buses. Tanzanians imported their buses from Kenya, from this area. What did we do? We asked South Africans to bring us 8, 10 buses. In fact, when the president came here, the buses were moved from 8 buses to 32 and then to 64. Importing buses from South Africa, while Tanzanians were importing theirs from this area in Nairobi. Because of lack of a law on local content, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, local content is everything about our international trade. If we don't implement this, then it means that even our EAC negotiations that we do every day and say goods from EAC will attract 0, 10%, sometimes 0%. But now what's happening is that the Indians, the Chinese, the Americans are getting their products into Uganda, into Tanzania, do a few things, modifications here and there, and they now claim that those products originate from Tanzania and therefore they come into Kenya at 0% duty-free. Mr. Speaker, this law will require that the policy makers, the implementers, as a country, can we for a while say that our budget, the things we'll buy 70% of the goods that we produce locally. I say this a lot of respect, Mr. Speaker, that it's a time, and I always wonder why even in Parliament here, we must be having suits that I have to go to some Italian shop and get a nicely cut suit with a tie to come here. Yet, we have Rivertex producing very nice vitenges. We could be allowed to, even if it's mean, tying the knot at the collar. But we cannot promote our local industry if we think local, niduni, sorry, if we think local is not up to it. We must love our country first before we can be loved by any other person in this world, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at what's happening today in the housing sector, we said that we'll produce windows, doors, we'll produce nails, we'll ensure that all those things being used in the housing projects will be produced here, Mr. Speaker. The first few months were okay. But as I speak now, I'm going to invite the Committee of Housing of this Parliament to please, after we pass this bill, please, the money is going to that project of housing. It's a lot of money. It could lead to so many industries here in the country. We want to request that they insist that the construction that is being done from the proceeds of the housing fund be done in strict adherence to the local content law and policy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was just looking at what we are importing lately. The things in a car, for example, the brake pads, the things that you have to change every time you are servicing your car, Mr. Speaker. We should require, for example, if we know that the biggest supplier of cars in the country is Toyota Kenya, we should require them that part of what we're going to have as agreement with you is that we'll allow your cars to come, yes, but you must establish a local industry producing the things along the line. If it is brake pads, if it is the things we're going to produce to use to service the vehicles, we will produce them locally. The bushes and all these things that we use. Because we cannot, Mr. Speaker, I hope to industrialize, when you import a car, then import the headlights, then import the tires, then import the rims, then import the bushes, then import everything else in a car. We import pikis, the motorcycles that are used everywhere today, import them into the country. Then even the servicing of the same is being, how do you grow as a country? So I want to thank the Honorable Jane Kagiri for this very good bill and require that once we pass this, one of the things, Mr. Speaker, we should do if you internationalize that, the Committee on Trade in this Parliament should ensure that this is done completely so that through this, I'm certain that counties will grow, the country will grow, we'll get jobs for our people, Madam Speaker, and I support and hope that this Parliament will support. Thank you so much.
Just for your benefits, I think we do have laws that we call protective laws to protect the domestic industries. If the last time I remember, if my memory serves me right, for you to qualify for a locally produced thing so that you can have the kind of ratings, which is minimal, if not zero, you had to have 37% of the content. That includes labor also, coming from domestically here. Now, in this bill here, unless there's going to be some amendments to it, and this is just because I'm also a member of Parliament, I can see you are giving the foreign companies that a foreign company shall source at least 60%. Isn't this law even better for the foreign companies than the previous one we had? Because the previous one was that they could, for them to be able to qualify for the kind of rating that domestically produced products have, all they needed to do was to have 35%, 37%. Yes.
This, Mr. Speaker, you're talking about the so-called rules of origin that are inbuilt in trade agreements that we sign.
Yes.
And that's why I said earlier that you've seen, for example, countries like India, China, they then now come with products that are almost completely done. They then repackage them in Uganda or in Tanzania under something called in law transshipment, and then they come in and saying they are regionally produced and therefore they're locally produced. And that's why
the customs union basically.
Correct.
The customs union, what is taxed in an East African community country cannot be taxed.
It's one market now, Mr. Speaker, and that's what you're saying, that then we require authorities to be very strict and ensure that this law then helps in plugging those gaps, Mr. Speaker. And thank you for the...
There has to be...
Thank you.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards, as you put it, has to be very, very alert in this situation. Because as you put it, and I'm conscious of what you're saying, that happens a lot. That's happened. even through the AGOA, the African Growth Opportunity Act, before, foreigners, the whole idea of behind the AGOA was to develop domestic industry, to take advantage of the tax holidays in the US. But what happened? Foreign, Indians, Chinese, and other companies came in here, set shop in here, and used that opportunity right now to it's not right, and I think it should be illegal. Yes, Lori.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, you've called me the name they used to call me while I was in high school, Dori, but I'm Donya Dori Saburi, Mama County from Kisii. Okay. I'm actually supporting Honorable Jane Kagiri. Honorable Jane Kagiri, before this House, I've supported one of her bill. The first one was on electricity. And on this one, Honorable Jane, let me just affirm to you, they always say, one word is enough for a wise man. This bill will promote local wealth retention. Money will remain in the local villages, just the same way as when they thought of having counties. Initially money was felt in Nairobi, it was not in the villages. But with this one, having the locals doing this work, it is enough to say that there will be retention of wealth with the local people. They feel it. Even somehow, let me just be funny in Kiswahili, they say, mugeni njo, mwenyeji apone. So the people in the village will feel the circulation of money when they will be employed in these particular sectors, because number one, there is great job opportunities, and even as sometimes politicians, when you go to the ground and they meet 2-3 people, of course you cannot just walk away. They feel that there is money that has been left behind. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill because it will have a wealth retention. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Before I go to the next person, and I think in this case is that Mutunga? Yeah, Mutunga, before you take the floor, I want to welcome students from Mombasa Aviation Institute who are in the public gallery from Vita constituency, Mombasa. So I am trying to see if there's any coastal members of parliament who are here to encourage this progressive, very ambitious young men and women from Mombasa Aviation Training Institute. Should I start with the lady first? Miazi.
Asante sana Spika. Nichukue fursa hii niweze kuwakaribisha wanafunzi wetu kutoka Mvita, kutoka Mombasa County. Tunawakaribisha hapa katika Bunge la Kitaifa. Kama mnavyoona hapa ndio ni nyumba yenye ambayo sheria zinazotungwa za nchi na mambo yanafanyika hapa ya Kenya nzima. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nimeangalia wale wasichana, nimeona wasichana warembo sana na vijana ambao niko na imani. Tunazungumzia wabunge wanaokuja, magavana wanaokuja, hata marais wanaokuja, kwa sababu tunajua tu wa Mombasa tuko na mpango saizi pia na sisi tunataka tuwe tuko mbele, tumeshika mstari mbele, tushikilie bendera ya nchi. Karibuni sana wanangu, tunawapenda, feel free, karibuni sana. Asante sana Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I take this opportunity again to welcome students from Mombasa Aviation. Honorable Speaker, I think it would be important and to add what my sister, Honorable Amina, has said, that the young people who come to just see what happens in Parliament, I think it's a great opportunity for them to shape their ambitions, to shape what they look forward in their lives. And I want to say today, Mombasa Aviation, I've lived in Mombasa for many years, is one of the premier institutions that we have in Mombasa that shapes young minds, shapes young, our youth to become responsible adults, to become, people that will add value to this country. So I want to say to the young people that it's important that you take time, to study, but at the same time, take time to also appreciate what happens in the country, that you've got an opportunity to come to this house. Let this be your rallying, your wake-up call, so that then now you can, grow your dreams. If your dreams do not scare you, then you've not started dreaming. And if you are to change this country, as you Gen Zs have been saying, then you need to take responsibility, you need to take initiatives that will make you not only good in your villages, in where you come from, but you must be outstanding in the country and beyond. So wish you well in your studies, but more importantly, make sure that muko kadi. Asante, Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Fair enough. I think, would you want to also do the same? I mean, Madam Fatuma, full network. I thought you were going to talk in Swahili also. To encourage. No, let's finish with the students first. I'm looking at anybody who's, yes, this, the Nyamira guy, the Honorable Mogaka.
Steve Mogaka.
Ukizungumza Kiswahili pia ni bora zaidi, maana endelea.
Nashukuru Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi mwafaka kupokea wanafunzi kutoka Pwani kuja kutembelea bunge letu la taifa. Hili bunge ndio latunza sheria humu nchini, na mtakapomaliza masomo yenu tuwangoja muwe wabunge, muwe majaji, muwe maprofessional katika nchi ya Kenya. Na sisi tunawaomba kule Pwani muendelee kukuza utalii, muendelee kupokea wageni wetu wakija, na muendelee pia kujifunza lugha zingine, isije ikawa ni Kiswahili tu. Tuwakaribisha bungeni na kuwatakia heri na fanaka katika masomo yenu, na majaliwa tutawatembelea kule Pwani. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. This is Rosa. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to welcome our young ladies and young gentlemen from the Coast region. They look beautiful, like Mheshimiwa has just said, but I also want to let them know that this is a place for them in future. The seats might not be so full at the moment, but this is where laws are made, and I know that they're aspiring to be part of the lawmakers in Kenya, and the sky is the limit. Keep it up, work hard, and you will get there. I want to thank them for coming, and I just want to wish them the best when they go back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Fair enough. I think that does it for the students from I think that does it for the students from Mombasa. Bwana Bisau, Mheshimiwa Bisau, ongea basi Kiswahili tukusikie vile
Asante sana.
Wanawahimiza wanafunzi wafanye mambo mengi mazuri. Endelea.
Shukran Bwana Spika, ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kuweza kuwakaribisha wanafunzi hapa. Masomo ni muhimu, ndio kifunguo cha maisha. Kwa hivyo kufika kwenyu hapa, niwaambieni kwamba hakuna kilicho kigumu. Bora mweke masomo mbele, msome na bidii, kila kitu kina wakati wake. Kwa hivyo msome na bidii, mkaribishwe pia hapa kwetu, na mjue nyumba hili ni la yoyote. Bora uweke bidii kwa maisha yenu. Na nyinyi kusafiri kutoka Pwani kufika hapa inathibitisha kwamba kweli mna nia ya kujua nini inafanyika kwenye nchi hii, na pia ni watu wa bidii. Mnaporudi kule Pwani, Maulana wajalie na msafiri salama. Shukran Bwana Spika.
Madam Fatuma, wewe pia unataka kuchangia hiyo? Kueleza wanafunzi.
Nitajaribu kwenye Kiswahili. Mheshimiwa Spika, sikukuwa na nia sana ya kuzungumzia kuwakaribisha watoto, lakini nikakumbuka ili mswada ambao tunao bungeni leo ambao imeletwa na Mheshimiwa Jane Kagiri linaangazia kwa kuwekwa mkakati ili tunapoajiri watu kazini tupatie nafasi wa Kenya zaidi. Tunapopeana biashara.
Order.
Naimiza watoto wetu kuwajulisha ya kuwa.
Unawahimiza ama unachangia hoja hii?
No, sichangii kwa sasa. Nataka watoto wetu wakisafiri huwa mara nyingi wanasema sisi kama waliochaguliwa hatuwakumbuki. Ningependa leo hii waone wao wenyewe kwa macho ya kuwa ili bunge hao waliowachagua walioko katika bunge hili tunawajali. Mswada ya leo tunao hapa ni kuwajali wao, sio sisi, sababu hao ndio viongozi wa kesho, hao ndio wafanyabiashara wa kesho. Mswada tulio nao, naomba hata wakiondoka waende kwenye Google waiangalie mswada ambao imeletwa na dada yetu Mheshimiwa Jane Kagiri, waone ya kuwa wabunge wa Kenya wanawafuatilia, wanataka waajiriwe kazi, wanataka wapewe nafasi ya biashara. Kwa hivyo tumeweka kwenye roho zetu. Karibuni tena katika bunge hili na asanteni sana kwa kufika hapa.
Nafikiri tumefika kikomo ya kuwakaribisha wanafunzi wa kutoka Mombasa Aviation Institute. Sasa nampa fursa hii Mheshimiwa Bwana Mtunga achangie ile hoja ile tulikuwa nao ambayo ni hoja la
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, as the students leave, I want to tell them that they have received the best reception in this House, because rarely will you find 2 members of Parliament welcoming the students. Honourable Speaker, I stand to support this very important bill by Honourable Jane Kagiri of Laikipia. Honourable Speaker, this bill comes in to provide a framework to regulate local content in Kenya, what has not been regulated for a very long time. It is important, Honourable Speaker, that we regulate local content so that we can promote a local industrial development or industrial growth, and also provide the service for sourcing of locally produced materials, goods, and services so that we can utilize them. Right from the outset, Honourable Speaker, let me go slightly into history. When we were young and in schools, we were learning geography, and especially I have reflection of the Great Lakes region geography in America. If Americans did not protect the Great Lakes agricultural production, I do not think America would be where it is today. Many countries grew from agriculture, and what they start by doing is recognizing the potential there is in the people who form the greater population of such a country, and therefore they make sure that these people's production follows a line that gives them optimum or maximum benefits. And that is in line with protection of the local content. Honourable Speaker, the time frame given by this particular bill to be effective in about a year after having been assented is adequate in my very considered opinion, because we need the requisite adjustments per sector. Some sectors will move very fast to adjust, but other sectors will take a bit of time based on the levels of complexity of and the nature of business of the sector itself, and also the extent to which some of these sectors or some of the investments in the sector have relied on inputs from other countries. Madam Speaker, local content has to do with value addition to the country through basically, to the country's economy, through basically procuring from within the country. And also, supplying materials to the various activities that happen. I've taken some time to look at the objects of this particular bill, Honourable Speaker. I am happy in prescribing minimum local content quotas across sectors. And Honourable Kagiri probably might consider, instead of sticking to 60-40, I consider that this prescription can go up to 60-40 based on the nature of the industry itself, based on the nature of the sector itself, and so that we can give flexibility for transformation. Because these industries have got to transform, they have got to refocus, and we shall pass this one as law in this particular House, then we will need that adjustment so that people don't feel, or industries don't feel very constrained. Now, Speaker, there is nothing better than promoting the local industry. This country has immense human power, very developed human power, that is looking for opportunities for employment. We have many youths who are looking for jobs today. If we were very particular on how we use our natural resources, if we are very particular on how we use our production, what we produce in our farms as in view of agriculture, if we are very particular on how we utilize our endowments in minerals and others, we would create opportunities to employ Kenyans faster and better. So local content is really important, Honourable Speaker. Manufacturing is key. to growth of this particular country because we need industries. Industries will come along with better job opportunities and better possibilities to absorb Kenyans. Madam Speaker, singling out the agricultural sector, I believe Kenya, as we all know, is a lot of an agricultural country than otherwise. I remember, Honorable Speaker, in this House, some members have stood to say, we cannot be proud of Kenya every day, every time talking about 40, 50% contribution to the GDP. And Honorable Speaker, in my very considered opinion, what that such a member should have said is that how can we utilize this 40, 30, 60, 50% contribution to turn it around so that we can have a lot more coming from the manufacturing sector, a lot more coming from the service sector. And Honorable Speaker, it is not possible to do that unless we focus a lot more on local content. A local content I have in mind, utilization of whatever we produce in the agricultural sector in this country first, even as we consider selling out there. And I have in mind investment in the service industry that, for instance, sell or promote agricultural products. Honorable Speaker, we have services in form of supermarkets, we have services in form of the food outlets, and so on. It is disheartening, Honorable Speaker, to realize and understand that some of these investors in this country import even chilled potatoes to make chips, when the Kenyan farmers can produce any variety of potato that we may need in this world. Honorable Speaker, we have capacity to produce any variety. We have both technical capacity and our farmers have the capacity to do it. In fact, Kenyan farmers tell us, say what you want to be produced, give us the market, and we shall produce it. They have never failed us. Whenever, and you can realize, Honorable Speaker, after the Kenya Kwanza government, through the effort of our president, committed itself to supporting production, rather subsidizing production as opposed to subsidizing consumption, this country has been food secure since, after supporting our farmer with the fertilizer. Now, Honorable Speaker, when we import products like, goods like eggs from South Africa or from other parts of the world, we are curtailing the Kenyan farmer from producing eggs. When we bring in chilled potatoes so that we can eat as chips, we are curtailing our farmers. To foster economic growth, we must consider supporting our people by emphasizing on utilization of the local content. And we have sufficient supply of this local content, save for a few areas. Let me take a minute on our to reflect on our import bill. This country has seen growth in import bill since 2022-23 from around 224 billion to around 500 billion today. We are spending $500 billion shillings to import food that Kenyans can produce. And this is because of some of the policies problem that has gone on and some of the inclinations of even our manufacturers in this country to procure from outside raw materials other than producing here. Honorable Speaker, I may wish to single out one particular industry, the edible oil industry. Edible oil industry is one industry we can support with raw materials in this country, 100%. Our farmers can produce sunflower, they can produce simsim, they can produce canola, they can produce all sorts of seeds from which we crush and get oil. But we prefer to import instead of producing. And this is just a policy decision that has been taken or was taken sometimes back to favor a few individuals. Even if you're employing 2,000 people, and then you are making 2 million people destitute, it really doesn't help. Agriculture sector gets 57 billion shillings as a budget, but we spend 500 billion shillings importing food. That's a paradox. Honorable Speaker, as a people, we need to stand with our people and say, why don't we invest in production? Because we can. We import from Uganda. And let me tell you, Honorable Speaker, once they crush their seeds, they also sell at the waste material, the byproduct, so that we can constitute animal feed and feed our animals. So besides even, importing for our own consumption, we also import for our animals. And this is really not focusing on the right direction. So local content is key, and we are able and capable of producing anything that is needed for most of the industries in this country. Honorable Speaker, we have very skilled personnel. I mentioned that at the beginning. We are very well educated young Kenyans. These young Kenyans are substituted and replaced in workplaces because we do not have parameters to measure who actually should access the job opportunities. With this particular kind of legislation, Honourable Speaker, we will be categorical that 80% of those who are working in a specific facility should be Kenyans. Else you tell us why you cannot get Kenyans, because they are there, they are trained, they are experienced, and they are knowledgeable, and they can be able to do the job. Again, Honourable Speaker, Kenyans are very industrious. They're very hard-working people. Wherever I found Kenyans working, they are always singled out as the best, whether it is in colleges and universities, whether it is in industry, whatever it is. They are singled out as very hard-working and very focused people. Since we are hard-working and focused, let any investor who comes here, and we respect them and we would like them to come, let them come here and consider working with the Kenyans so that we may do a better job. Honourable Speaker, there are situations where foreigners come here and they don't even understand Swahili. They can only speak in their own languages. And they take quite a while before they can acclimatize, because they can be able to know their way around. Why don't we utilize Kenyans, as it were, and respect these people, because they are coming here to make money. Once they make money, let them take away the money, and then employ our Kenyans so that they can also make a little bit of the money that they are taking by giving the foreigners. Honourable Speaker, when it comes to balancing out in terms of the penalties, I like the provision, Honourable Speaker, of a serious penalty of 100 million. 100 million is not literal. I've been trying to push through serious penalties for some of the atrocity committed in the agricultural sector, and we've never gotten anywhere close to 100 million. And I think 100 million, in my very considered opinion, is good, because we want these people to realize that we mean business. We are serious. Many speakers have said in this House, Honourable Speaker, that some people come even with cement. And we have more than 10 cement making factories. They even come with almost everything. Metal, they come with everything. And that is not right. We need to utilize what we have, and that can only be through enforcement, through such a legislation. That's why I thank Honourable Kagei for bringing up these very good ideas. And with those very few remarks, Honourable Speaker, I support.
Madam Esther Pasaris, then Munyazi.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to support the Local Content Bill 2025 moved by Honourable Jane Kagiri. Honourable Speaker, as we debate, we must strike the right balance. Kenya must remain attractive and competitive as a destination for investors, while ensuring that our people benefit meaningfully from the investments that come into our country. Investors are partners in our development, and we must appreciate the role they play in creating jobs, transferring skills, driving economic growth. The bill should therefore not be seen as punitive, but as a framework for mutual benefit and shared prosperity. The requirement of 60% local sourcing and 80% workforce participation is a step in the right direction. However, we must approach this with flexibility and realism. We can start with a lower achievable percentage and progressively scale up as our local capacity grows. The phased approach will build confidence, encourage compliance, and avoid discouraging investments. Honourable Speaker, even as we discuss the workforce threshold, we must be guided by data and reality. My understanding is that the multinationals operating in Kenya currently employ less than 5% foreign staff. If that is the case, we must be careful that the policy does not unintentionally create room for increased foreign labor and at the expense of Kenyan jobs. Let us therefore ground our decisions on verified data and ensure that any flexibility strengthens rather than undermines local employment. Honourable Speaker, recent global tensions, including the threats in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical route for oil and goods from the Middle East to Kenya, remind us how vulnerable we are to the external shocks. When that route is disrupted, fuel prices rise, the cost of goods increases, and our local economy feels the strain. This bill is therefore not just about participation, it's about economic resilience and security. However, we must also be honest. that our current capabilities and limitations. Where local capacity exists, it must be prioritized. Where it does not, we must create a pathway through incentives, partnerships, and phased implementation to build that capacity without discouraging investments. Honorable Speaker, even in the sectors such as the motor industry, we must be realistic. We do not yet have all the raw materials required for full manufacturing, but through regional value chains within the COMESA, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, and by focusing on assembly, components, and value addition, we can still build a strong competitive industry base. We must therefore look beyond the borders and leverage regional production, clusters to strengthen competitiveness, and expand markets and position Kenya as a manufacturing and logistic hub within the region. Honorable Speaker, we have heard concerns about investors importing materials such as prefabricated panels for housing. But we must be honest, we cannot blame investors, whether Chinese or otherwise, for sourcing externally if local products do not meet the required standard, price, or consistency. Even something as basic as screws and bolts, as mentioned by Honorable David Ochieng, come down to competitiveness and quality. It is therefore the responsibility of the Ministry of Investment and Trade and Industry, working together with the Kenya Bureau of Standards and sector ministries to ensure that our local industries are competitive, certified, and able to meet investor needs. Local content must be earned through quality, reliability, and price competitiveness, not enforced at the expense of standards. Honorable Speaker, if we are serious about attracting investors to set up locally, we must also provide targeted incentives. This includes tax waivers, duty exemptions on machinery and equipment required to establish manufacturing plants. By lowering the cost of setting up, we encourage investors to build locally, create jobs, and transfer skills to our people. At the same time, we must take a practical approach to skills transfer. Work permits for specialized foreign expertise should be structured in a way that ensures deliberate knowledge transfer to Kenyan workers. These permits should be time-bound and linking training, mentorship, and capacity building to our people. Honorable Speaker, we must also ensure that local content does not become a preserve of a few well-connected entities. It must intentionally include small and medium enterprises, women-led businesses, and youth entrepreneurs who form the backbone of our economy. We must guard against fronting where foreign companies hide behind local proxies while real value continues to flow out of the country. Strong monitoring and enforcement mechanisms are therefore critical. Honorable Speaker, we must also address the fundamentals that make local manufacturing viable. If we lower the cost of energy, and ensure reliable supply of raw materials, we will attract investors to manufacture locally. This will reduce production costs, eliminate excessive transport costs, and make goods more affordable to Kenyans. At the same time, we must invest in the quality of our raw materials and the standard of workmanship of our people so that the products can compete locally and globally. Ultimately, Honorable Speaker, local content must mean real partnership, real opportunity, and real transformation of